Hello everybody and welcome inside Ray Fisher Stadium here on the campus of the University of Michigan for today's WCBN sports coverage of Michigan baseball. Today the Michigan Wolverines have their home opener as they welcome in the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils from just down the road. I'm Austin Falco, alongside me Max Brill, and Max, Michigan finally coming home after what's been a rough start on the road to this season.
Yeah, Austin, let me just say it's great to be back. Great to see some baseball in Ann Arbor. And honestly, aside from the weather, good to be back from Nashville. You know, Michigan had a tough series on the road this past weekend, dropped 2 of 3 to Lipscomb. Not a team that has beat them in the past ever, so that was a shock to see that. I'm thinking today, if we can see some better defense from the Wolverines, they should be able to play at a much higher level because that's something they really struggled with this past weekend.
For the Wolverines, they'll send to the mound today, trying to get off the schneid, William Tribuker. Tribuker, the junior, making his first start of the season. He's appeared in 3 games so far, holds himself an 0-2 record in 5 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 6 runs, only 3 of them earned, though. He has struck out 8 and walked 5 in his appearances. The lineup he'll face from Lawrence Tech today. Leading off and playing center field is Eddie Dupowski. Batting second and playing first base is Michael Rinke. Batting third, playing right field, Shawn Fannin. Designated hitter today batting fourth is Austin King. And we'll get you the second half out lineup in just a second as Eddie Dupkowski steps in there and takes a first pitch strike from William Tribuker. Batting fifth for the Blue Devils today is Joseph Russo. He plays left field. Second pitch of the ball game is in there for a strike to Dupkowski, and Tribuker's up 0-2. Batting sixth is Tyler Childs, the third baseman. Batting seventh, playing short, is Tyler Cleesby. Behind the plate is Max Cadman as this one is hit high in the air. Tribuker makes a play, bounce off the ground, throws to first in time. Nice play there from William Tribuker to field the sky-high chopper and throw to first, record the first out of the ball game.
That's something you see with turf fields, high bounces, especially on plays like that, which make what should be routine ground balls back to the pitcher especially difficult, having to take your time to field that ground ball.
So stepping in now be Michael Rinke, the first baseman for the day for the Blue Devils. First pitch to Rinke, misses off the plate away for a ball, 1-0. Finishing off that Blue Devil lineup real quick. Behind the plate is Max Cadman for them, batting eighth, and second baseman Mackenzie Magoo starts at second base. It's the second pitch here to Rinke, misses outside for a ball, 2-0. Tribuker, the lefty, takes a breath, works quickly, winds up on the mound, and the 2-0 pitch. On the corner for a strike, 2-1.
Something you want to see from Tribuker there. Able to put in a strike to the second batter after a good start to the game. Throwing strikes is going to be key for Michigan today.
Rinke coming into this one, batting just .220 on the season, but does have himself a good eye. He's walked 5 times as an OBP at .319 as he takes ball 3 low and away. Counts now to 3 balls and 1 strike. Tribuker working quickly again. This one is skied high towards center field, short center field. The shortstop Blomgren ranging out though, and he makes the play for the Wolverines for out number 2.
Tribuker off to a good start here today. And like I said before, throwing strikes is going to be key for them. As long as he does that and lets his fielders do their job, it should be a good day for Tribuker. Able to get that ERA on the right side of 4.
The fielders for Tribuker across the outfield are Miles Lewis, Jonathan Engelman, and Christian Bullock. On the infield, from left to right, it's Blake Nelson, Jack Blomgren, Akeo Thomas, and Jessie Franklin. As this pitch is hit high and deep by Shawn Fannin near left field. Behind that big wall, it bounces off the top of the wall and bounces into left center field. Miles Lewis will field and throw in towards the infield, but not before Shawn Fannin gets himself on base with the double. The best hitter in this Blue Devils lineup shows why there as he put an absolute charge into that first pitch from Tribuker.
And you mentioned Fannin, the best hitter in this lineup. He's hitting .367 on the year. Already got 4 home runs in just 25 games for Lawrence Tech. He's a force to be reckoned with for this lineup, and makes sense there that he would hit a double, nearly a home run off the top of the wall against Tribuker. But definitely still what you want to see from Tribuker, going after hitters and making them do their job.
Fannin ranks 18th in the nation in both doubles and total bases, adding to his total there. And he'll be in scoring position with 2 outs for Austin King, the designated hitter. Righty crouches down that right-handed batter's box and takes a breaking ball inside for a ball, 1-0.
Good breaking pitch there from Tribuker. Just got a little inside.
King steps in with a .329 batting average on the season. 4 homers of his own as well. Little power in the bat as he takes the fastball on the outside corner for a strike, 1-1. Tribuker looks in for the sign for Brock Keener, his backstop for the day. Now comes set, takes a peek back at Fannin on second base and fires a fastball high at Austin King, swung and missed at, so that'll bring the count to 1-2.
Yeah, you mentioned Keener behind the dish today, not something we saw at all against Lipscomb and Nashville. Joe Donovan got to start all 3 games, so we'll see if Keener can make the seamless transition from first base in that series to catcher today.
Keener's been one of the hottest hitters in that Michigan lineup, hitting over .450 during that 3-game series against Lipscomb. As a breaking
nice
ball freezes
there.
King for strike 3.
Exactly what you want to see from King. Ahead in the count, go to the breaking pitch, got it over there, jelly-legged Austin King.
Great pitch from Tribuker, gets him out of the inning, so Lawrence Tech gets a runner to second with 2 outs, but he was stranded there after 1/2 inning of baseball here at Ray Fisher Stadium. We're still scoreless on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
Good to see a nice clean first inning from Michigan. Obviously not 1, 2, 3, but Tribuker able to pick up a strikeout there to strand Shawn Fannin on second base. Wolverines off to a good start, hoping they can turn around their woes from the past 2 games and get back in the win column.
Michigan's offense been a little inconsistent, especially in that series in Nashville. They scored 16 runs in that opening game. We're only able to muster up 6 the last couple games of the series, and worth noting, in that 3-game series, they only scored 2 runs after the 5th inning, and it was a 2-run homer by Jonathan England back on that first Friday game. The lineup that the Wolverines will send to the plate to try to fix that is as follows. Leading off, as usual, and playing second base is Akeo Thomas. The designated hitter for today, Dominic Clementi, bats in the 2-hole. Miles Lewis bats third and plays left field. Jonathan Engelman is the center fielder today. He bats 4th. As you mentioned, Brock Keener, one of the hottest hitters in the Michigan lineup, is the backstop. He bats in the 5-hole. Batting 6th and playing right field is Christian Bullock. Batting 7th over there at the hot corner is Blake Nelson. Jessie Franklin gets the start at first base today. He bats 8th. And rounding out the lineup, over there at shortstop is the freshman Jack Blomgren. They'll be going up against the Lawrence Tech Blue Devil pitcher, right-hander Alec Wietrzykowski. A mouthful of a name there. Wietrzykowski coming into this ballgame with a .325 ERA. He's 4-1 and 6 games started already on the season. As mentioned, the first batter of the game he will face is Akeo Thomas. Thomas struggling to start the season, batting just .208 on the year after hitting up near .400 for most of last season before being taken out by a hand injury near the end of the season. The diminutive righty stands in there and takes the first pitch inside for a ball, 1-0.
Thomas really struggled in last weekend's series against Lipscomb, so we're hoping he can get the homestand out on the right foot here.
The 1-0 pitch to Thomas is off the plate away, just barely missed for ball 2. The Blue Devils' defensive alignment is as follows. It's Russo, Dobkowski, and Fannin across the outfield. On the infield, it's Childs, Cleesby, McGuff, and Rinke, with Cadman the backstop for Wietrzykowski. As Wietrzykowski fires his first strike of the ballgame to Akeo Thomas, who takes that one on 2-0, and the count's now 2 balls and 1 strike. Working quickly is Wietrzykowski. The 2-1 pitch is lined back up the middle and into center field for a base hit. So Akeo Thomas off the schneid a little bit, gets Michigan started here. The first at-bat of Michigan's home opener for the Wolverines results in a hit and the leadoff runner on. That'll bring up Dominic Clementi.
So Thomas, after going 1 for 13 against Lipscomb in the series this past weekend, able to start the homestand on the right foot with a single Good piece of hitting from him to line that right back up the middle, and now we'll be able to see some of that trademark speed from Thomas on first base with nobody in front of him.
And Thomas only attempted 4 steals this year off his usual pace of stealing just about every time he gets onto the base paths. He's 3 for 4 on the year. He takes a big lead over here right now at first base. He fakes going as Dominic Clemente, the lefty, takes strike 1. Goes down on the count 0-1. Lawrence Tech very conscious of Thomas's speed over here on first base. Holding him on as the pickoff throw was just late over there. Might have had Thomas caught flat-footed for a split second. But he slides back in safely. Big aggressive lead by Thomas once again at first base. He's going on this pitch. Clemente takes outside. The throw out to second. Not in time as it bounced and was a little off towards the left field side. So K.O. Thomas swipes his 4th bag of the season. The Wolverines have a runner in scoring position. Nobody out in a 1-1 count on Dominic Clemente.
This is something we're used to seeing from Coach Bakich. Unafraid to run in the series against Lipscomb. Unafraid to send his runners today. So Thomas on second base now in scoring position just like that. And Wolverines still with nobody out.
Eric Bakich's MO has been a very aggressive style on the base paths throughout his time here in Ann Arbor. As Thomas not taking quite as big of an aggressive lead over there at second as the 1-1 pitch to Clemente bounces low and away. Good stop there by Cadman to keep it in front of him, and the count goes to 2-1. Clemente, the sophomore, batting .276 on the season with a .400 on base percentage as he ropes that one fouled on the left field line and out of play. So the count's going to go to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Four RBIs on the season for Clemente. He's got a chance to add to one here with a K.O. Thomas out there on second. Base hit to the outfield should score the speedy second baseman. The 2-2 pitch bounces in the dirt again. How to run the count full, 3-2.
So Michigan here exhibiting some patience, not something we saw from them in the weekend series either. Coach Bakich, whatever he's said to them, bringing them home, has worked so far. It's still early, but it's worked so far.
The original home opener was supposed to be yesterday against Oakland, but that one was called due to a forecast for inclement weather as Wietrzykowski steps off and chases a K.O. Thomas back without a throw. The 3-2 pitch now to Clemente, misses outside for a ball, so Clemente will take his spot on first base. The Wolverines have a couple runners on now with nobody gone in the inning. Bringing up the 3-hitter Miles Lewis.
So Clemente there, after a very, very good performance in Nashville, able to pick up some pinch hits on first base. Wolverines in business here in the first inning. First and second, nobody out. We got Miles Lewis coming to the dish.
Yeah, despite this only being Clemente's 8th start, as you mentioned, Coach Bakich trusting Clemente off the bench in pinch hitting roles. He's got himself 29 at-bats on the season, which is more than several hitters you'll see later on this Wolverine lineup. The first pitch to Miles Lewis misses outside and low for a ball, 1-0. Lewis is not one of those who is being outplayed by Dominic Clemente. This is his 15th start. He started all 14 of the previous games, coming in batting .250 on the season. Does have himself an on-base percentage of .310 though, as he takes the second pitch also outside for a ball, 2-0.
So we're going to get a meeting here on the mound. Max Cadman, the catcher for Lawrence Tech, heading out to have a conversation with his pitcher, see if they can get on the same page. He's had a little trouble throwing strikes early in this contest, which means it could be a long day for Lawrence Tech. Definitely something you want to take care of early.
We saw that back in the Friday game down in Nashville. Lipscomb just could not find the strike zone early on. It came back to bite him as the Wolverines, as you said, push across 16 runs, but Lewis grounds one towards second, throw to second for one. The relay throw to first, in time. Questionable call over there, but according to first base umpire Michael Schultz, Miles Lewis thrown out. Not much argument from Lewis, so may have just been our angle up here, but the threat definitely minimized now. Only a runner on third with 2 gone on the inning. Jonathan Engelman will step up to the plate.
I don't know how questionable that call was. It looked good to me. Obviously not something you want to see from the Wolverines. Runners on first and second, nobody out. Now just a runner on third with 2 out. Grounding into a double play is just about the worst thing you could do in that situation. But we'll see if Jonathan Engelman, the Wolverines' 4-hitter, can bring in Thomas from third base here with 2 outs.
He's 90 feet away is Thomas, so Max Cadden behind the plate's got to be careful, but Engelman lines one. Leaping stab by McGuff at second base. Nice play there to get the Blue Devils out of the inning. So just like the Blue Devils in the top half of this inning, Michigan able to get a runner on and into scoring position, but cannot push him across. After 1 inning of play here at Ray Fisher Stadium, we're still scoreless between Michigan and Lawrence Tech. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
Yeah, Michigan in that inning did a lot of good things. Putting the ball in play, you can't really be mad at that. Better than a strikeout in most scenarios, but if you've got a runner on first, ground ball up the middle is usually going to lead to a double play. Can't fault Lewis there. Again, putting the ball in play is the best thing you can do. So just giving his team a shot there. Can't really control where it goes once it's in play. So, unlucky there, but we'll see if they can get on the board here. Second inning, third inning. It's a long game.
And kind of a killer there in a 2-0 count also. Miles Lewis taking the first couple pitches off the plate away and then looked like he reached out and took that pitch on the outside corner and just rolled right over it right to second base. So a little painful there to see that. I'm sure Miles Lewis will be thinking about that one for a little bit. But the Wolverines are going to have to recover right away. They face the 5, 6, 7 hitters here in this Blue Devil lineup. Joseph Russo, Tyler Childs, and Tyler Cleesby. Tribuker able to get through that first inning relatively quickly. Just 12 pitches thrown. And 1 hit given up, that double that just missed clearing the high wall in left field from Shawn Fannin. Of course, here at Ray Fisher Stadium, had the big brick wall. It's only 312 to that left field corner, but that brick wall is about 30 feet high. Which makes it just slightly harder to clear that. It will be Joseph Russo stepping in to begin things here in the second inning. He takes the first pitch from Tribuker in the dirt for a ball, 1-0.
So Tribuker after an efficient first inning. Ball there.
Winds up in the 1-0 pitch. Misses low again for ball 2. The 2-0 pitch to Russo. He turns on that one and bounces it into the Michigan dugout for a foul ball. Count's going to go to 2 balls and 1 strike. Keener squats behind the plate. Russo with an open stance, crouches down in that right-handed batter's box. The 2-1 pitch fouled off his foot. So the count's going to even up at 2-2.
Good job by Tribuker to get back in the count after falling behind 2-0. Michigan dugout chirping over there, certainly helping him out with positive energy.
The 2-2 from Tribuker. Breaking ball bounced high on the infield again. Blomgren's going to make the play on a couple hops. Throws to first. Not in time.
And again, we see that turf infield coming into play. A high hop for Blomgren on grass probably would have been a routine ground ball, but on turf, got the ball bouncing 15, maybe 20 feet into the air. It's a tough play to make.
Yeah, not quite as high as that one earlier Tribuker had to field where that did get up about 25 feet in the air. It looked like a pop fly. It hit so hard and bounced so high. That one not quite as high. Blomgren had a chance, but not much of a chance. Would have had to make a spectacular Michael Berdar-like barehanded stab and throw over there. It's the first pitch here to Tyler Childs, the third baseman for the Blue Devils, is in there for a strike, 0-1. The 0-1 pitch swung at and missed a breaking ball. It was down by his feet. Count goes to 0-2. We've already seen that breaking ball. Tribuker's calling card early on here a couple times, making Lawrence Tech hitters look a little silly out there. It's the 0-2 pitch. Tries for maybe a changeup or two-seamer moving off the plate away. Brings the count to 1-2. Russo on first, taking a conservative lead. There's a swing and a miss here from Childs on the breaking ball. Sets him down on strikes. Now there's 1 out and 1 on in the inning for Tyler Cleesby.
I'm going to be honest with you. I love what I'm seeing from Tribuker today. Not afraid to go after hitters. As a pitcher in high school, obviously I've not played on this level, but it's always something that you struggle with as a pitcher. You don't want to let the other team hit it, and Tribuker's had no trouble doing that today, going after him, getting ahead early in the count, and throwing strikes.
He goes after Tyler Cleesby here, but just misses off the plate away, and the count goes to 1-0. The 1-0 pitch is hit high in the air towards right field. It's Bullock calling off Thomas in shallow right field to make the grab for out number 2. Routine fly out there. Tribuker cruising along here. 2 gone in the inning after the leadoff single. That'll bring up the catcher, Max Cadman. Cadman coming into this one batting an even .300 on the season. Has himself an OBP up there at 394. He takes the first pitch he sees in the dirt. Nice stop there by Keener. The count goes to 1-0.
Cadman, the redshirt sophomore from Heartland, Michigan.
Local boy as he swings through this one, but throw it on to second as the runner was going as well in time. Nice throw by Brock Keener. He hooks up with Jack Blomgren to throw out Joseph Russo, who wasn't taking a very aggressive lead. Maybe a questionable send there. But as it stands, it'll go down as a 2-6 caught stealing, and that'll end the inning for the Wolverines. Played 1.5 here. Neither team has scored between Michigan and Lawrence Tech. On WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan Baseball, the official student radio broadcast for Michigan Baseball.
And Austin, something you said before the game, you said you were a little concerned. You wanted to see how Keener would perform behind the dish, and I have to say, that was beautiful. A great throw down, right on the money. Beat the runner, Russo, by, I'd say, probably 3 steps. Doesn't get much better than that.
And Russo was dead to rights out there. Absolutely no chance, and well done by Brock Keener. As you mentioned, I did have concerns about Brock Keener's defense. Haven't seen him start a lot. He was passed over, at least behind the plate, for Joe Donovan the entire series down in Nashville. But immediately showing he's at least got the arm to stick back there, and already made a couple of nice blocks behind the plate as well. Seemingly dismissing those worries of mine pregame.
So due up for the Wolverines, it's none other than the aforementioned Keener. He'll lead it off, followed by Bullock and Nelson. Kind of fitting that the guy who made the nice play in the last inning gets to lead it off here, start the rally for Michigan.
Keener has been money pretty much the last 2 weeks, but we're already going to see a pitching change actually out here. We just got word from down the field. Alec Wietrzykowski is out of the game, and into the game is the right-handed pitcher Brace. Sam Brace for Lawrence Tech comes into this one. He's made 7 appearances. All of them were starts on the year. He's 5-0 with a 3.12 ERA and 40 1/3 innings of work. He struck out 25, only walked 9.
So Wietrzykowski's final line, 1 inning pitched, 1 hit, 1 walk, no strikeouts. Had trouble throwing strikes, 14 pitches, just 6 of them over the plate.
I misspoke. It was the righty, or rather the lefty Brace. I almost did it again there. He fires the first pitch into Brock Keener, hitting from the right side. Misses inside, almost clips Keener for a ball, 1-0. Winds up the 1-0 pitch in there for a strike at the belt, 1-1.
It's kind of a curious decision by Lawrence Tech to take Wietrzykowski out so early in the game. Brace has been their go-to guy this season now.
Brace fires one now that catches the outside corner for a strike. Count goes to 1-2.
Head coach Stan Eldridge for the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils maybe just wanting to keep his options open early in the game.
The 1-2 pitch misses high and away now on the fastball for ball number 2, and we're all evened up at 2-2.
And I don't know if you have heard anything about a potential injury or anything like that. Wietrzykowski looked fine to me after that inning, so if we get word, we'll let you know.
We certainly will, as the 2-2 pitch misses well outside and runs the count full. Yeah, Brace, kind of an awkward-looking delivery also from that left-hand side of the mound. Stands with his glove up, almost off to the side of his face. And it goes into the abbreviated windup, and the 3-2 pitch, a bouncer over towards third. Childs makes the play, throws over to first, and plenty of time to retire Keener for out number 1 here in the second.
Keener not exactly fleet of foot, so plenty of time over there for Tyler Childs, the third baseman, to retire him.
Yeah, a little hard hit 2 chopper there from Keener. He looks disappointed himself coming back to the dugout on that one. With how hot he's hitting, I'm sure he feels like he should crush just about everything that's thrown to him. That will bring up the right fielder, Christian Bullock. He takes the first pitch outside for a ball, 1-0.
Bullock was 1 for 5 in Nashville with a run scored.
Yeah, started just the 1 game out of 3. Getting the start today here and taking the 1-0 pitch on the inside corner for a strike, 1-1.
Bullock, the sophomore from Chicago, Illinois. Stands at 6 feet even.
He bounces one towards the middle, trying to make a play as McGuff, but diving, cannot make it. Into center field it goes. So Christian Bullock's got himself a little hit here. He'll be on first base with 1 out in the inning. That'll bring up Blake Nelson, the third baseman.
And Nelson getting a start today. We saw Jimmy Kerr start the first 2 games in the series against Lipscomb, and then the Wolverines changed it up. They went with Hector Gutierrez at third base, so trying out yet another option. It'll be Nelson, who is hitting well on the year.
It's just his second start of the season as the righty takes the first pitch he sees on the inside corner for a strike, 0-1.
And that was something we saw in Nashville that the Wolverines struggled with, was offense from the bottom of their lineup. Blomgren, not great. A good defensive shortstop, but doesn't have a big bat. We'll see if Nelson can turn that around.
He takes the 0-1 pitch outside for a ball, 1-1. As you mentioned, Blake Nelson got his first hit of his Wolverines career back in Nashville. The junior college transfer from South Mountain Community College. Takes the 1-1 pitch outside again here, and the count goes to 2 balls, 1 strike. Appears in the dugout for signs. Eric Bakich doesn't have much to give him at this point. And Nelson crouches in that right-handed batter's box and lines one over the head of a leaping second baseman Guffin into right field. Bullock had to hold out to make sure it got through, so he'll only advance to second. But back-to-back singles have Michigan in business here in the bottom of the second. Couple runners on, only 1 gone. For the first baseman today, Jessie Franklin.
Another good piece of hitting there by the Wolverines. Nelson seeing the outside pitch, driving it right over the second baseman into right field for his second hit as a Wolverine.
Yeah, look at the MO of that bat was definitely stay away on Blake Nelson. All 3 pitches he saw before that, strike on the outside corner, ball away, and as you mentioned, took that outside pitch and deposited it into right field. So the left-handed hitting Franklin now steps up to the plate and takes the first pitch he sees, also away for ball 1. Franklin making his 6th start of the year, just a couple hits and 21 at-bats so far on the season. The 1-0 pitch to him misses away again for ball 2.
Franklin, for the Wolverines, a part of this elite recruiting class. He's a freshman. He was drafted last year by the Seattle Mariners. They took him in the 37th round, whether that was because he deserved to be taken in the 7th round as the new pitcher for Lawrence Tech, Sam Brace, tries a pickoff move to second. Is unsure. A lot of times when guys are committed to college, teams won't draft them until late in the draft because they don't want to waste a high-round pick on somebody that might not come play.
And Franklin grounds one towards second, goes to second for 1. The throw to first, not in time as Franklin shows off the wheels there on what was a pretty hard hit ball and beats out the relay throw. So the Wolverines barely able to avoid another inning-killing double play. They'll have runners at the corners with 2 gone in the inning, and that will bring up Jack Blomgren, the shortstop.
Want to go back to Franklin for just a second. Won Gatorade Player of the Year in 2017, first-team All-State, captain of his high school team, consummate professional. And we'll see if he can show off these wheels you just mentioned with second base open here and runners on the corners for the Wolverines with 2 out.
Franklin yet to attempt a stolen base in the season, but aggressive lead over there, especially with a lefty on the mound. The lefty fires the first pitch in there to Jack Blomgren for a strike, 0-1. So from one freshman to another, Franklin to Blomgren. Blomgren, as you mentioned, the slick fielding shortstop, coming in as a member of that vaunted freshman class. It's a pickoff throw over there towards first base. Chases Franklin back with a dive.
Smart move there by Sam Brace, the pitcher for the Blue Devils, just to check on Franklin, keep him honest.
He really booked it down the line, beating out the latter half of that double play as Blomgren bounces one right to the shortstop, Cleesby. He'll take it to the bag himself to end the inning. So the Wolverines threaten again here. Once again get a runner to third base, but cannot capitalize. So after 2 innings of baseball here at Ray Fisher Stadium at the Wilpon Complex, the score still sits at Michigan 0, Lawrence Tech 0 on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
Another good inning there from the Wolverines, unable to capitalize on the base runners, but obviously not everybody who reaches base is going to score. Still, 2 hits from the Wolverines, both singles. Like to see them show off some extra base power here as we come back to the top of the lineup. For the Blue Devils coming up in this inning, it'll be Max Cadman, who was at the dish when Joseph Russo got caught stealing. Mackenzie McGuff, the second baseman, and then they will turn over their lineup with Eddie Dobkowski due up third.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the lack of extra base power also haunting Michigan just last series against Lipscomb. If my count is correct here, just 5 extra base hits the entire series, which you want to see more out of a lineup that has some power. When the bats of Jonathan Engelman, Brock Keener has shown that he's got the ability to get on base and has that big frame. Miles Lewis has shown extra base pop in the past, and while you don't necessarily think of power when you think of a K.O. Thomas, he definitely is more than capable of depositing one into a gap and sprinting around the bases, getting himself in good position and setting up the team for a big inning. We just have not seen that this season so far from the Wolverines regularly.
Yeah, speaking of depositing things into the gap, he nearly deposited one over the fence in the last game against Lipscomb. He hit off the base of the wall. So Thomas, underrated power source for the Wolverines.
He takes his spot at second base as William Tribuker fires the first pitch of this at-bat to Max Cadman outside. He squared around the bunt and pulled back. Cadman was at the plate when the caught stealing ended last inning. He bounces one back towards Tribuker. Funky spin on it. He makes the play and throws over to first in time. Way to stay with it there from William Tribuker.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to field that with his glove, and then the ball spun the other way, so had to field that with his bare hand. Still makes the out. Good composure from Tribuker to stay with the ball. And again, the turf coming into play for the Wolverines. That's, I think, the third hit ball that the turf has really affected the fielding for the Wolverines.
Tribuker really getting these Lawrence Tech hitters on top of everything he's throwing. They're just pounding it into the ground. That one, however, thrown to Mackenzie McGuff, was fouled straight back to the screen. And the count goes to 0-1.
Good on Tribuker there, though. If McGuff is swinging at a pitch that ends up at the backstop, that means the pitchers know they got to go up hacking, which means Tribuker's been throwing strikes.
Just 28 pitches through 2 and now a third of an inning as the 0-1 pitch misses high and away for a ball. 1-1. McGuff was squaring around to bunt there. The Blue Devils, perhaps knowing they really aren't doing much against Tribuker. The only offense they have is a double from Shawn Fannin and an infield single. This one is lined softly towards first, booted by Franklin, but K.O. Thomas makes the play, flips to Tribuker, covering in time. Nice play there. K.O. Thomas on the backup, and Tribuker sprinting over to first base, getting there just in time to beat out McGuff.
For those of you keeping score at home, that'll go as a 3-4-1 putout off the glove of Jessie Franklin, and then K.O. Thomas able to clean up his mess.
Another issue perhaps reappearing that we saw from the Wolverines down in Nashville was defense, and just making small mistakes. Almost had another one there. The leadoff hitter Dubkowski squares around to bunt, doesn't pull back in time on the ball in the dirt, according to first base umpire Michael Schultz. So that'll go down as a strike, and the count's 0-1.
Bucher looking great right now, virtually unhittable.
Takes the slow wind up, the 0-1 pitch on the corner at the belt. Strike 2.
Bucher, a real Rembrandt today. When you're painting the corners like that, it doesn't get much better.
Working quickly now. He's in a groove. The 0-2 pitch, breaking ball grounded towards third. Fielded by Nelson. Makes the long throw to first base in time for out number 3. A nice quick inning there from Bucher. Just 8 pitches to retire the side here in the third. Through 2.5 innings here, he's kept Lawrence Tech off the scoreboard. Michigan has also been kept off the scoreboard, though, and we're still stuck here at 0-0 on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
Yeah, Bucher that inning, 8 pitches thrown, 6 for strikes. I love it. Through 3 innings for Bucher, he's got just 1 fewer pitch than Lawrence has thrown in total over their first 2 innings. So Bucher has been very effective, averaging just 11 pitches per inning so far. And definitely something the Wolverines needed was a little bit of relief from their relief. The bullpen got a lot of action against Lipscomb, and Bucher, if he's able to go deep into this one, will be able to give that bullpen a much-needed rest.
It looks like we're going to have another pitching change here for the Blue Devils. Going with their third pitcher in 3 innings, it'll be the right-hander James Castiglione. Castiglione coming in, this will be his 7th appearance. Half of his appearances so far on the year have been starts. He's 0-3 with a .675 ERA. And 12 innings pitched, he's walked 19 batters, only struck out 11. So control, perhaps an issue here for the righty.
Yeah, and originally I was a little surprised by the decision of Coach Stan Eldridge, the Blue Devils head coach, to make a pitching change after just 1 inning, but now I get it. He just wants to get all of his pitchers a little action against Michigan. Higher competition than the Blue Devils are used to facing, so perhaps wanting to get his guys some work down the stretch. The Blue Devils coming into this one at 16-9, so they've been impressive in their own right during their slate in the NAIA.
Blue Devils facing the University of Michigan today in Ann Arbor, then traveling to Mount Pleasant tomorrow to square off with the Central Michigan Chippewas. So getting a little bit of a challenge here after their early season run that saw them traveling down south to Florida, a little series in Dayton, Ohio, as well as West Virginia.
Speaking of Dayton, Ohio, first 4 going on tonight. How's your bracket looking?
Honestly, I don't think I've touched it in about a day here. I filled it out, and I've been trying to just kind of go with my gut and not overthink things.
I respect that.
That's what gets you in trouble, is that's overthinking all these
that's
games.
what I do every year, and I never win. So there you go. I mean, it's just, I'm tinkering. I said it, and then I'm tinkering, and it always comes back to bite you.
Tinkering always. If you've ever seen The League, tinkering is what always comes back to bite you, exactly. So it will be Castiglione here starting things off. He faces the top of the Wolverine order, Akeo Thomas. Thomas takes the first pitch he sees low and away for a ball, 1-0. Righty to righty, the 1-0 pitch. Hit high in the air towards left center field. It's going to get into the gap. Thomas is booking it around first base. Fielded well by Russo out there. Cut it off and held Thomas to just a double. But as you mentioned, a little underrated pop in that bat of Akeo Thomas. He starts things off here with a leadoff double.
I feel like everything we were just talking about in that last inning happened on that play. You got an extra base hit. You got Akeo Thomas, gap-to-gap power. He's on second base. Wolverines once again in business with nobody out.
This was
not much more to say than that. I mean.
This was the situation they found them in back in the first, though, after Thomas started things off with a single and a stolen base. Dominic Clementi, who's at the plate right now, worked a full count and then worked the walk. He swings to the first pitch here, though, and bounces it high towards short. The shortstop, Cleesby, makes the play, fires to first in time to get Clementi by about a step and a half. But Akeo Thomas able to move up to third on the play and taking away the double play, which has been a killer so far for the Wolverines in this one, so definitely worth noting. That will bring up Miles Lewis. Lewis grounded into a double play back in that first inning for 6-3. Got himself in a good hitter's count, 2-0, and then just rolled over an outside pitch. Lawrence Tech playing the infield in here. Try to prevent that first run of the game, the go-ahead run from scoring at third base. Lewis takes the first pitch high and in for a ball, 1-0.
Lewis, the redshirt junior, stands at 6'1", weighs in at 200 pounds. Switch hitter, batting from the left side right now.
This 1-0 pitch is chopped high towards first base. Fielding it in fair territory is Rinke. He tags out Miles Lewis, but Akeo Thomas comes across to score, so an RBI ground out from Miles Lewis puts the Wolverines in front here in the bottom of the third by a score of 1-0.
Yeah, good job there by Lewis not to run into the tag. That's something we saw in the last series against Lipscomb. Wolverines made a base running error and ran into a tag that caused a double play. Had Lewis done that, there's a chance that Michael Rinke, the first baseman for the Blue Devils, would have had the chance to get Thomas at home, but Lewis not letting him do that and picking up the RBI.
So now the bases will be cleared here with 2 outs, and Jonathan Engelman will step up to the plate. Engelman back in the first inning, hit a hard liner towards second, where McGuff made a nice jumping grab. It's the 1-0 pitch here, rather the first pitch misses and brings the count to 1-0. Engelman with that line out back in the first, average down all the way to 241. Not necessarily what was expected out of the junior. See, scalds this one down the left field line, but it is wide up the bag. So that'll be a foul ball and even things up at 1-1.
Engelman, the junior, 6'3". He's got some power. We saw a home run from him on Friday in Michigan's 16-11 win. Trying to get things going at the plate, though. Power won't play if you can't hit the ball.
I think we estimated that one probably went somewhere around the 370, 380 range in the straightaway left. He takes a breaking ball off the plate inside for ball number 2, 2-1. Doesn't have to hit that one quite as far here, just 312. And that one he hit back on Friday, that Lipscomb series, was way up there, would easily clear the tall wall here. This one would clear the wall as well if it had the distance, but it's foul and goes over the screen on the right side out of play. Brings the count to 2-2.
You got to wonder if Engelman, who's a California product, is affected at all by the early season weather here. As you know, Ann Arbor, not exactly one of the warmest places on earth.
He's swinging a miss here at a breaking ball from Engelman. Sets him down on strikes to end the third inning here, but Michigan able to scratch one across. A leadoff double from Akeo Thomas leads to a run. So through 3 innings here, Michigan has the only tally of the ball game. They lead Lawrence Tech by a score of 1-0. On WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball, the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball. Austin Falco alongside Max Brill here at a chilly Ray Fisher Stadium, as you mentioned, Ann Arbor, not the warmest of places. Our game time temperature was sitting right around 37 degrees when first pitch was thrown at 3:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hasn't seemed to affect William Tribuker, though, who's cruised through 3 innings here, going up against the Lawrence Tech Blue Devil lineup. He's faced 1 over the minimum through 3, thrown just 33 pitches. You'll see the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the Blue Devils here in the 4th inning. Michael Rinke, Shawn Fannin, and Austin King. And we got our first defensive change of the game for Michigan as Harrison Salter comes in the ball game to replace Brock Keener behind the plate. So perhaps Eric Bakich going with a similar strategy that we saw out of Lawrence Tech. We're trying to get some guys some work here in a ball game that doesn't necessarily have the same stakes you would normally associate. So Harrison Salter takes his spot behind the mound after a quick trap with William Tribuker. It'll be Michael Rinke stepping up to the plate. The left-handed hitting first baseman popped out to short in his first at-bat. This time he hits one high and foul out of play over the screen on the left side of the field. That'll bring the count to 0-1.
An interesting call from Coach Bakich here. Keener would be leading off the next inning, opting to give Salter the AB instead.
Breaking ball from Tribuker misses just high. Bring the count to 1-1. As you mentioned, Keener, the hot hitter, looking pretty solid behind the plate as well. Being taken out here early on. Breaking ball from Tribuker, missed the plate. Not sure where it missed the plate, but according to home plate umpire Stuart Hall, maybe just a bit high, perhaps, as the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike.
Good pitch from there. There from Tribuker. Want him to keep doing that.
He goes right back to that breaking ball, and it's hit high in the air towards right center field, and it'll drop in between Bullock and Engelman for a base hit.
So that tells me that I should stop talking, because he threw the same pitch, and Rinke drove that right into right center field for a base hit.
So Rinke gets Lawrence Tech started here in the 4th inning with a leadoff single. That'll bring up the powerful and dangerous Shawn Fannin, who missed a home run by a matter of vertical feet. That certainly would have had the distance had it not been for that tall wall in left field. Absolute laser of a shot. Ricocheted almost all the way back out to center field. Fannin, the only extra base hit so far for the Blue Devils in this one. If he can do it again, Rinke may be able to come around from first and score. The first pitch of the at-bat to Fannin, unlike last time where it was put into left center field, is in there for a strike, 0-1. Rinke taking a healthy lead over that first base. We've already seen Lawrence Tech try to steal once today and get thrown out by Brock Keener. We'll see if they test Harrison Salter. They don't on this pitch, though, and it's in there for a strike, now 0-2. Rinke 3 for 4 on stolen base attempts this year, so he has some speed. He's going back to the bag, though, as the left-hander Tribuker delivers to the plate and misses low and a little bit away for a ball, 1-2.
Fannin, another Lawrence Tech player from Michigan. This one from Grosse Pointe, majoring in business administration. Nice to see some minds on the baseball team also.
As the 1-2 pitch is a breaking ball that misses well away for ball number 2. Salter had to come out of his crouch to field that one. Almost looked like a pitch out, but obviously not based on the spin on that ball.
Fannin this season hitting .367, slugging .700.
The 2-2 pitch swung at and missed for strike 3. So Tribuker makes a nice pitch running low and away from the right-hander Fannin to retire the powerful right fielder for the Blue Devils. And there'll be 1 out and 1 on for Austin King, the designated hitter today.
Austin King, the senior, right-handed pitcher and infielder, and DH, does it all.
Including take a first pitch strike here from William Tribuker to go down on the count 0-1. King 0 for 1 on the day, was caught looking back in the first inning to end that frame. This 0-1 pitch is hit high in the air, but back behind us and out of play. That'll bring the count to no balls and 2 strikes. Tribuker fully in the driver's seat now. Next pitch will be his 45th of the game here in this 4th inning of action. Here it comes. It is muscled barely off the hands and bangs off the press box here. The count will remain 0-2.
King this season with 4 home runs, already matched his home run total from last season in half as many games.
Notable improvement out of the senior, and he takes a called strike 3. Another caught looking for Austin King on a nasty breaking ball from William Tribuker. He struck out 2 in a row, and now there's 2 gone in the inning for Joseph Russo.
I think the official score is going to rule that as a swinging strike. It kind of was just a lazy wave as he realized the ball was going by him. Either way, swinging strikeout looks better in the scorebook for Tribuker, so he'll take it either way.
He did indeed rule it as swinging on that half-hearted attempt. The home plate umpire, Stuart Hall, made the motion as if he was calling him out on strikes, but either way, it's a strikeout. Goes down to the books as such. The first pitch to Russo in there for a strike is Tribuker seemingly finding his own and then immediately fires one into the dirt that needs to be stopped by Salter. He keeps it in front of him, though, and keeps the runner Rinke over there at first base.
Ray Fisher Stadium's got kind of an interesting deal where even the infield dirt, quote unquote, is turf.
This was hit high in the air by Russo towards center field. Engelman barely having to move. Makes the grab for out number 3 in the inning. So despite a leadoff single Nothing doing here for the Blue Devils of Lawrence Tech in the top of the 4th inning. Through 3.5 innings, Michigan still holds a 1-0 lead here at Ray Fisher Stadium. You're listening to WCBN Sports and our coverage of Michigan baseball.
I want to get back to that turf for a second. I was going somewhere with it, I promise. Something you sometimes see is around the bases they have actual dirt, and then the rest of the field is turf. Like you look at the Rogers Center in Toronto, they have that, or at least the circle around home plate is dirt to help the catchers. When you have turf there behind the dish, around the dish, it makes it harder for the catchers to stop balls in the dirt because you get bounces you're not used to growing up. Most players are used to playing on dirt, and then you have to adjust to playing on turf. So I'm sure Michigan's catchers who are able to utilize this field and artificial turf in the offseason pretty much whenever they want to are used to it. Definitely a challenge for teams coming in as a sort of home field advantage for the Wolverines.
Yeah, somewhat of a necessity given all the cold weather we see here during the winter. It's hard to maintain a field. It just gives you more respect for the softball grounds crew that we can see just over the left center field wall here at Ray Fisher Stadium. That entire infield is dirt, the outfield all turf, but it takes a lot of work. That was a game last year I called with our own Morris Fabry, who should be returning to a couple softball calls if you're a fan there, so make sure to tune in for those. He may make some guest appearances as a graduate here up the station. But I called one of the games with him last year. It had snowed no more than 5 hours before a game. You could not even tell based on that work they did on the field. It was absolutely phenomenal.
It's always good to see, giving the grounds crew their work, but yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now, literally snowed last night. You just cannot tell. So the softball field, well manicured, no need for that here at Ray Fisher. We've got the artificial turf.
Just got to shovel it off pretty much. It does look a little slick out there. Got a nice little shine on the field.
That's another problem with artificial turf. A little more susceptible to injury. Got to wear turf shoes. Cleats are preferable as a baseball player. I can tell all of you listening that it is imperative to wear cleats on a baseball field if it's not turf, but obviously Ray Fisher, a different animal.
Meanwhile, we have our 4th pitcher in as many innings here for the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils. It's Simon Lidwell, making his 10th appearance of the year. He's 1-1 with a 4.38 ERA. The first hitter he faces is the new catcher for the Wolverines, Harrison Salter. Salter takes this one low and away for a ball, 1-0. Limited time so far on the season for Salter. He's only got 13 at-bats coming in, but batting a nice .308. So he takes the 1-0 pitch in there for a strike, 1-1.
Salter had 2 at-bats in Friday's game against Lipscomb. Had a triple. A rarity from a catcher.
He put one into that right field gap and just ran and ran and ran. As the 1-1 pitch is a breaking ball that misses low and in for ball 2. It's 2-1.
So the final line on Castiglione, 1 inning pitched, 1 hit, 1 run earned, and the Blue Devils' first strikeout of the day for him.
As Salter taps that one towards the Michigan dugout for a foul ball and strike number 2. Evens count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Blue Devils going with this pitcher and inning strategy, just trying to get everybody a little bit of work. Wouldn't be surprised they do the same thing tomorrow against Central Michigan as another one tapped near the Wolverine dugout for a foul ball, and we'll stay at 2-2. Wolverines keeping that ball down there in the dugout. Worth noting at Lipscomb, I don't think we mentioned it during those games, had a cool little promotion going there where if you caught a foul ball and returned it back to the concession stand, you got yourself a free small popcorn.
I could go for some popcorn right now.
It's the 2-2 pitch misses low and away for a ball, 3-2. And that popcorn smelled really good when we were over there, too.
It's enticing. You're right.
Some.
The press box is right above the Lipscomb kitchen.
Not quite as susceptible to those smells up over here in the press box at Ray Fisher, thankfully, or else I might be running down between innings here to grab myself something. See, 3-2 pitch to Salter is hit high in the air down the left field line. Plenty of distance, but can't quite keep it straight. So we will remain still at 3-2.
Salter doing a good job here of staying in this at-bat. Already a quality at-bat. He's seen 6 pitches.
This one is hit down the line. Fair off the glove of Rinke at first base. Rounding first, thinking about it for a second was Salter, as it was the ball went to that sidewall between right field and first base and kind of just stuck there. So Salter didn't really have a chance to go to second, but a hot shot there has himself a leadoff single. It'll add to his hit total on this young season, bring that up to 5, and that'll bring up Christian Bullock with nobody out and a man on.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to rule that an error. It's got to go as a hit. Just smoke that ball down the first baseline. Nice job from Rinke to prevent the double, but Salter raising that average already.
It was indeed ruled a hit as the first pitch to Bullock. He squares on the bunt and pops it foul behind the plate. So the count goes to 0-1. Michigan probably just trying to stay out of another double play in this one.
Yeah, personally not a fan of the sacrifice bunt, but I can understand where Coach Bakich is coming from after the double play in the first, nearly a double play in the second.
And not necessarily even a straight sacrifice with the speed of Christian Bullock. Seen as somewhat of a center fielder heir in waiting after Johnny Slater left last year. He's been playing right field while Jonathan Engelman takes center field duties in this season so far.
And yeah, that's a compliment to his arm. Got to have a great arm to play right field. And we know Bullock can play center. That's where people thought he was going to end up. But the fact that he's in right just speaks volumes to how good of a fielding player this youngster is.
He taps one foul at the plate to go down 0-2. And now the lefty sophomore is ready for the 0-2 pitch. He takes a pitch just off that outside corner, trying to get the call back. There was Cadman really framing that one. But it did miss away, and the call goes to 1-2.
Wolverines currently lead at 1-0. Their lone run coming in the third. Thomas doubled and then came in on the Miles Lewis ground out.
But a swing and a miss here from Bullock on a ball in the dirt sets him down on strikes. So the youngster from Chicago heads back to the dugout as the first out of the ball, or of the inning rather. And that'll bring up Blake Nelson, the third baseman, with 1 out and 1 on.
Nelson singled in his last at-bat. Wolverines really just playing well today. Haven't shown it on the scoreboard, only leading by 1 run, but a handful of hits. They've got 5 through 3 innings and change.
Nelson, as you mentioned, singled back in the second inning as the first pitch hit bounced in the dirt, gets away, thrown on a second, gets away from the shortstop as well. And Salter, again, not the fleetest of foot as a catcher, but able to scamper into second, sliding head first. Gets himself into scoring position on what should probably go down as a wild pitch.
I don't know how they're going to score that because they definitely had a shot at Salter at second base, but for sure he wouldn't have been running unless the ball got away.
It would be a wild pitch or a pass ball, but the double play is now no longer in effect with Salter on second in scoring position. This one is bounced high on the infield. The third baseman Childs making the play in front of the shortstop position, firing over to first. Nice running throw there from Childs. Retires Blake Nelson for the second out of the inning here. Meanwhile, on the play, Salter moving up to third. So runner 90 feet away from scoring, but there are 2 outs in the inning as Jessie Franklin strides to the plate.
So the third baseman retiring the third baseman there. The freshman Franklin 0 for 1 today, just hitting a little under 100. It's not something you want to hear, but plenty of opportunities, which is a good sign from Coach Bakich, has faith in the freshman.
A big swing and a miss from the lefty. Puts him down on the count 0-1. As mentioned, getting his 6th start of the season. He had a fielder's choice back in the second where he beat out the relay throw on a double play. He thinks better of swinging at one that misses low and away in the dirt. And so he holds up and brings the count to 1 ball, 1 strike. Franklin, just a couple RBIs on the season. Chance to add to that total right here. Harrison Salter less than 90 feet away with his leadoff now as this one is hit foul back behind us and perhaps bouncing off of Yost Ice Arena. Brings the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes on the lefty freshman. Open stance in that batter's box now. Taps one just over the head of the pitcher, Lidwell. Play will not be able to be made by McGuff. He thought about throwing over to first, but it was going to be well late. So Franklin once again beating out a throw on the infield. This time it results in a little RBI single for him, with Harrison Salter coming across to score. So the Wolverines now up by a score of 2-0.
Franklin having trouble getting the ball out of the infield today, but sometimes that's not even necessary. Picks up the RBI there.
So it'll be Jack Blomgren now stepping in as the pickoff throw chases Franklin back diving at first. Blomgren also 0 for 1 with the fielder's choice. Bounced out to short to end the second inning. He squares on a bunt here with 2 outs in the inning. Mounts it right back at the pitcher, Lidwell. He fields, throws over to first for out number 3. He's trying to catch the Blue Devils by surprise, perhaps, was Blomgren, but can't quite do so. And he is retired here for the 3rd out of the inning. The Wolverines do get a couple hits, though, and push across their 2nd run of the ball game after 4 innings of play. They lead it by a score of 2-0 over the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils on WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan baseball.
Always tough for the guys at the bottom of the order. Sometimes if you can't get your bat going, you'll look for anything to reach that first base. Blomgren there trying to get on with a bunt. Not a great bunt, pretty much bunted it right back to the pitcher. If it was to one of the corners, would have had a better shot at beating it out. Blomgren now on the season hitting just 154 on the interstate.
And it seemed like if that bunt had been maybe just a foot or two to the left towards that third base line, he might have had a chance to beat that one out. Childs was not playing particularly close at all at third base. If he had just been able to direct it just a little bit more, he could be on first base. Maybe get that bat jump started. As you mentioned, just try to get something going if you're struggling at the plate, which Blomgren definitely qualifies as doing so. Speaking of struggling at the plate, the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils have been struggling at the plate just about all day against William Tribuker through 4 innings pitched. They've only been able to muster up 3 hits. One of them was erased on a caught stealing as well, so haven't been able to get much going at all against the lefty junior for Michigan. Only thrown 48 pitches through 4 innings of play too, so very efficient in his work. He'll face the 6, 7, and 8 hitters here in the top of the 5th. Tyler Childs, Tyler Cleesby, and Max Cadman. He'll start off with Tyler Childs, the 3rd baseman. He struck out swinging on a breaking ball back in the 2nd. First pitch he sees is a changeup. It looked like that went right down the middle for strike 1.
Tribuker only thrown 9 balls today. Very impressive from him.
He had only walked 5 in just over 5 innings worth of baseball, so control may have been an issue coming in, but quickly dismissing that. Not on that pitch, though, as that one misses for a ball, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch here bounces in the dirt, goes to 2-1. So maybe jinxed him a bit there after calling out not having many balls thrown at all. He throws 2 straight. The slow windup from Tribuker, the 2-1 pitch. Fastball misses high and away now and runs the count to 3-1. First time he's been notably behind in the count since way back in the 1st inning.
Yeah, it's a different ball game as a starter versus a relief pitcher. A lot easier to get rolling as a starter.
3-1 pitch, though, misses low and in for a ball. That's ball 4. So just after Max talks about how he hasn't thrown many balls, he throws 4 out of 5 outside the strike zone.
I think this is the 2nd time this has happened to me today, so. But yeah, it's a lot easier to get going as a starter. You know you're going to be starting the game. You know exactly what you have to do to get warm. As a reliever, sometimes you got to warm up on short notice. If coaches sitting you up, sitting you down a lot, it's tough.
Tyler Cleesey bunts towards third base. Barehanded play made over there by Nelson. He fires to first for the out. Nice play by Nelson to make that a sacrifice bunt and not a bunt single. Childs does move up on the play.
So you mentioned Tribuker so far this season has not made any starts, if I recall correctly. And we're seeing the difference here. Bucher, a starter today, able to improve his 4.76 ERA so far, and looking for it to go down here against the opposing catcher, Max Cadman.
So Lawrence Tech puts the play on, gets a runner into scoring position with just 1 out in the inning. Cadman, the left-handed hitting catcher, takes outside for a ball, 1-0. Cadman has actually been up to the plate twice so far today. He was at the plate when a caught stealing ended the second inning. Led off the third with a ground out right back to Bucher. See 1-0 pitch here, bounces in the dirt, able to keep it in front of him with Salter, but it skips almost all the way back to the pitcher's mound. Looked like they were crossed up on that one based on Salter trying to backhand that one. It looked like it had some spin on it. But moving up on the play is Tyler Childs on what will be ruled a wild pitch. So now a runner just 90 feet away, only 1 out in the inning, and a 2-0 count for Cadman, a chance to get Lawrence Tech back in this one a little bit.
Yeah, the Blue Devils getting their first runner to third base today. Again, seeing that turf maybe come into play there, a hard ricochet off of Salter's chest pad.
You mentioned that perhaps being a home field advantage for Michigan, as that one is tapped foul into the Michigan dugout. Brings the count to 2 balls, 1 strike. A lot of these young players still have to get used to playing on that turf every day in an actual setting. They practice in the off-season on it for whatever time they can during what's normally a snowy off-season for them. But still got to get used to all the bounces as that one is fouled straight back to the screen. Evens the count at 2-2.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. To be fair, though, I don't know if even a senior would have taken care of that. A hard ricochet off the turf. It's tough to corral for even the most experienced of players.
Bucher now coming, set the 2-2 pitch. This one is tapped towards short. A run's going to score as Blomgren fields, throws over to first, 1 hop to first, gets past the first baseman, Franklin. There'll be a throwing error on Blomgren over at shortstop. And the Blue Devils of Lawrence Tech have their first run of the ball game. They cut Michigan's lead in half. The score now Michigan 2, Lawrence 1.
Despite the throwing error by Blomgren, Cadman should still get an RBI for that.
Yeah, it was going to be what was probably an RBI ground out, just ended up getting on base in addition to it. But this one is tapped towards Blomgren. Gets another chance at this one as he tries to drop the little pop fly, but ruled out by the umpire out there, Andrew Ryman. Trying to pull a little veteran maneuver was Blomgren. Didn't quite work. Have to work on that one just a little bit, so it'll be a easy line out for out number 2 in the inning.
Heads up play there from Blomgren. Always something I like to see behind me as a pitcher. Had one of those plays in a clutch rival game in high school. Always good to see heads up baseball, especially from freshmen.
Going on the pitch here is Cadman. It's in for a strike to throw out in a second. 1 hop, Akeo Thomas not able to get the tag back down though. So throw had plenty of arm in it, but just skipped enough for Akeo Thomas to have to move his glove a little bit, field it, and not quite able to get it back down in time. So a stolen base there from the catcher, Max Cadman. There's now a runner on second in scoring position. 0-1 count here on Eddie Dopkowski with 2 gone in the inning. He grounds one right at Akeo Thomas. Barely has to move. Throws over to first for out number 3. So Lawrence Tech able to scratch across a run in that inning after a leadoff walk. Tyler Childs came around to score after 4.5 innings of play. We're halfway home here at Ray Fisher Stadium. The score, Michigan 2, Lawrence Tech 1. Listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball, Austin Falco alongside Max Brill, bringing you all the action for today's ball game. Worth noting, we'll also have all 3 of this weekend's games for you here on WCBN. Michigan welcomes Bowling Green for their first home series at Ray Fisher Stadium this season. A 4 o'clock first pitch Eastern time on Friday, 2 o'clock on Saturday, and 1 o'clock on Monday. And we're hoping to bring you every single home game on WCBN Sports this year, and perhaps a few road games. We saw last week I'm making the trip down to Nashville, as well as potential trips this season. We haven't finalized anything, but Michigan State, Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, all teams on the schedule for the Wolverines that we're hoping to bring you the action for here at WCBN Sports.
Yeah, talking about that Nashville trip, I mean, they're playing This Is How We Roll on the PA right now, reminding me of being back in Nashville in the warm weather.
Yeah, it certainly was nice when we used to call, or we got to call about 40-something degrees, a little chilly compared to coming right back here. Just watching that drive back, we had the little temperature on our dashboard, just watching it drop.
Coming north, temperatures going down. Also a long drive, so. But it is good to be back, don't get us wrong.
Definitely is good to be back in Ann Arbor. And they did have a great field there, Ken Dugan Field, but there's just something about Ray Fisher, to me at least, that I just love seeing. It doesn't quite have the small town in the background, but you get the likes of the big house overlooking that right center field wall, Chrysler Arena just over center field. You got Alumni Field over left center field. Just something about this place is, it just feels right to be back.
Yeah, it's a nice vibe. Yost Ice Arena to our left, Chrysler Center a little to our right. Got some NCAA tournament action flanking us. Wolverines face off tomorrow against Montana at 9:50 tip, so recommend all of y'all tune in for that. Cheer on your Wolverines.
The Michigan men's basketball team and the Michigan women's basketball team both making the tournament, as you mentioned.
Women's made it as a 7th seed.
Michigan men's tipping off tomorrow night against Montana. Meanwhile, the women have Northern Colorado on Friday at 5. A couple of games to tune into when you're not tuning into WCBN sports covers, of course. New pitcher here once again for the Blue Devils. That'll be number 21, Matt Baker. He'll be making his 7th appearance of the year. He fires the first pitch low and away to Akeo Thomas for a ball, 1-0.
So this might be a problem because I only have 7 spots for pitchers on my lineup card.
Akeo Thomas, meanwhile, pops one foul out of play to the right side. He evens the count up at 1-1. Yeah, I have a feeling you're definitely running out of space in that one. Might have to double up.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't had to face this problem yet. It's a pretty new scorebook. I just started using it this season, so problem solving. We'll see. My problem solving ability will come into play here.
I have to use some of the Wolverine spaces over there with how
definitely possible.
Pitching.
We'll see.
So Akeo Thomas watches one that misses well high, pretty much over his head. The count goes to 2-1. And based on the progression of Akeo Thomas's game right now, you'd probably expect a triple. He singled back in the first, doubled in the third. Triple's the next logical step, right?
Oh, that's a tough call.
2-1 pitch just on the outside corner for a strike.
No way that's getting called a strike on a lefty.
It was ruled a strike by Stuart Hall, as Max Cadman was able to bring that one back to the corner and persuade him to get the call. Meanwhile, a breaking pitch on the inside corner for strike 3. That one definitely on the plate, just froze Akeo Thomas. So he goes down, looking on strikes here to start the 5th.
Yeah, Thomas looked like he was expecting a breaker there. Fastball right down Broadway. All you can do is head back to the dugout after that.
So that means Dominic Clemente will be hitting for the first time with nobody on base today. Previously batted in the first and third right after Akeo Thomas. He's 0 for 1 with a walk and a ground out. Watches the first pitch bounce in the dirt for ball 1-0.
Been a pretty solid day from the Blue Devils pitchers. They've sent 4 pitchers to the mound. Baker, their 5th. 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs, walk, 2 strikeouts. Not a bad day at the office for them.
Doing a solid job keeping this Wolverines offense down, really throwing strikes too, not giving too many free passes as the 1-0 pitch misses outside for a ball 2-0. That was the main thing when the Wolverines lineup was able to do anything against Lipscomb down in Nashville. It was because the Lipscomb pitchers were granting free passes, whether it was the walk or the hit by pitch. Wolverines just took advantage of it. The 2-0 pitch is right down the pipe, brings things to 2-1.
So I don't want to say anything about how Tribuker's pitching because it hasn't worked out for me well in this broadcast talking about success. So I'm just going to say William Tribuker's still on the mound. And when he leaves the mound, then we can talk about it. Or at least you can talk about it. I'm not saying anything.
The 2-1 pitcher's in there for a strike, 2-2. There is action in the Wolverine bullpen. As Clemente lines one right at the third baseman. He fields it on one hop. Childs does and fires over to first in time to get Clemente by a step. So ground out is out number 2 here in the 5th. Couple quick outs for the new pitcher, Baker, and he'll face Miles Lewis with 2 gone, nobody on. Lewis so far on the day, 0 for 2. He grounded into a double play back in the 1st and grounded out to 1st, but did pick up an RBI back in the 3rd. That was the first run of the ball game. Takes the first pitch here, missing on the inside, or off the inside corner rather, almost hitting him in the hip. He turned into that one, as Miles Lewis loves to do for some reason. It's just a hit-by-pitch magnet. This 1-0 pitch, though, he pops up high on the left side. Childs giving chase. Meanwhile, Cleesby calls him off, and it drops. The wind may be playing a little bit of effect. It's blowing from right to left. Not terribly strongly, though, but Cleesby just overran it, tried to reach back towards the line, and it landed in foul territory, so ultimately no harm, no foul for Lawrence Tech, at least for now. And Miles Lewis will have second life with a 1-1 count.
Not going to give Tyler Childs an error for that. Probably a good call by the official scorer. Now Lewis will have an opportunity to get his first hit of the day. Led the Wolverines last season with 14 doubles and started every game in left field.
It's the 1-1 pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Nice breaking ball there to bring things to 1-2.
I think Baker got mixed up on the count there. Started trotting back towards the dugout. At least it wasn't the catcher just rolling the ball back. That would have been embarrassing.
1-2 pitch is a fastball that misses high. Lewis takes it for ball 2.
Saw that last season from the Yankees. It was either, I think it was Gary Sanchez, 2-strike count. It was a 1-strike count. He thought it was a 2-strike count. Just rolled the ball back to the pitcher with a guy on base.
The 2-2 pitch misses in the dirt for a ball, 3-2. You know, it was not Max Cadman behind the plate that got mixed up there. It was your pitcher, Matt Baker, who just got about halfway towards that line and played it off real cool. Spun back around like he was just giving himself a nice little walk around the mound. As Miles Lewis hits this one high in the air, but fouls to the left side and out of play. So the count's going to remain full at 3-2. Miles Lewis only 4 walks taken on the season. But he takes walk number 5 right here as the breaking ball misses well high and away to put a runner on base with 2 gone in the inning for the Wolverines. That'll bring up the center fielder, Jonathan Engelman.
So Lewis, after last season, picking up 29 walks, has his 5th of the year here, raised that OBP.
Something just about all the Wolverine hitters are trying to do at this point is just raise those stats up, because they're not looking too pretty after what's been an admittedly very tough opening schedule, not only being away from home, but facing some of the best teams in the country, including that 4-game series against Stanford, where they were able to take 1 game and should have probably taken 2 if not for a last-gasp walk-off homer from Stanford.
Always tough to go out there against the Cardinal on the West Coast.
The 1-0 pitch to Engelman misses in the other batter's box here. That'll bring the count to 1-0. Engelman 0 for 2 on the day, lined out back in the 1st. Struck out, swinging back in the 3rd. Look at his 3rd look at his 3rd different pitcher here for Lawrence Tech as a pick-off throw chases Miles Lewis back. Lewis 0 for 2 on the season in stolen bases, but does have a stolen base, or is a stolen base threat, had 19 of them last year. Takes a big lead over that 1st, caught lead in just a second, and a little off balance. That pitch was delivered. It's in there for a strike, 1-1. Like Lewis maybe just mistimed the delivery just a bit there. Look, he wanted to go. He was really leaning there.
Yeah, Lewis last season with 19 stolen bases. Season has a couple as well.
He doesn't have to take a stolen base on this one, though, as this misses well away and gets back to the backstop. He'll just trot over to second on what should go down as a wild pitch. So now with a 2-1 count and 2 gone in the inning, number 2, Jonathan Engelman at the plate, has a runner on second base.
Yeah, deuces are wild right now, except we're in the 5th inning.
Kind of
close enough.
Yeah.
If you flip the 5, it can be a 2.
It's basically a 2.
So got a little.
We're just going with it.
Little discussion here on the mound.
It's all about narratives.
Max Cadman going out to have a conversation with the Blue Devils pitching coach, Tom Compion, and the Lawrence Tech pitcher, Baker.
Conference goes relatively quickly here, so they now set to approach this 2-1 pitch to Jonathan Engelman. It's on the way, and it's on the corner for strike 2.
Whatever he said worked. Evens up the count at 2-2 on Lewis with a runner on second and 2 outs. So there we go.
We got our deuces are wild. Wolverines with 2 on the scoreboard as well. Reaching a little bit here, but it works.
And if you divide our hit total of 6 by 2, you get Lawrence Tech's hit total of 3. So we could play around with this.
Math at the ballpark, who knew? The 2s are broken up, though, by ball 3. That missed low and away here from Baker. So a full count. The junior center fielder stands in there. Very still in that right-handed batter's box and watches one that misses. Once again, goes back to the backstop. A very wild pitch over the head of the catcher, Cadman. So Engelman will take ball 4 and trot on the first base. Meanwhile, Miles Lewis advances all the way to third on the second wild pitch of the at-bat.
I mentioned the Blue Devils have done a good job with their walk-to-strikeout ratio in today's game. 1 walk, 2 strikeouts prior to this inning, and in this inning alone, 2 walks. So Matt Baker having a little trouble finding the strike zone after retiring the first 2 hitters with no problem here in the 5th.
Hit 2 walks, both of them with 2 outs here after a couple quick outs to begin this bottom of the 5th. So now with runners at the corners, it'll be Harrison Salter getting his second licks today. He's 1 for 1 with a single back in the 4th. Came around to score on a Jessie Franklin single. He hits this one into right field. He'll drive in a run for himself as Engelman puts the brakes on at second, but Miles Lewis crosses home plate for the Wolverines' 3rd run of the ball game. So Harrison Salter coming around with the bat here, puts Michigan up by a score of 3-1.
Salter's second hit to that side of the infield in the last inning. He had a leadoff single off the first baseman's glove here, rocketing that one on the ground into right field. Good hitting from Salter in this game, and an underrated thing that was done right there by Jonathan Engelman. Faked the steal, drew the second baseman over, and opened up that entire side of the infield for Salter to take advantage of.
And you have to respect the Wolverines trying to go at all times pretty much. I mean, Jonathan Engelman, your 4 hitters, 3 for 4 and stolen bases there, so definitely effective. Christian Bullock takes a big swing at the first pitch he sees in this at-bat and fouls it. Barely gets a piece and sends it back to the screen, 0-1.
So the Wolverines now lead at 3-1. So a quick run recap in the 3rd inning. K.O. Thomas doubled and scored on Lewis's ground out. 4th inning, Brock Keener singled and scored on a single from Jessie Franklin. And then just now, Harrison Salter singling in Miles Lewis after Lewis walked.
The 0-1 pitch to Bullock. Very ahead of that one, but gets a piece and puts it back to the screen again. Goes down 0-2 now.
The lone run for the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils coming in the 5th inning. Tyler Childs leading off with a walk, and then coming around to score on Max Cadman, who reached E6, so it'll be an unearned run for William Tribuker.
The 0-2 pitch to Bullock misses outside for a ball. Brings the count to 1 ball, 2 strikes. So now you're all caught up with that. In case you were curious, getting all caught up on Christian Bullock's day. He's 1 for 2 so far with a single back in the 2nd and a strikeout just last inning in the 4th. Trying to avoid another one here down to the count 1-2. Engelman dances off a second. He pitches on the way, and it makes Bullock dance out of that batter's box that misses low and in, and evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's Martin Bullock, the sophomore from Chicago, Illinois, making his 14th start in 15 games. He waves and misses that one on the outside corner for his 2nd strikeout of the ball game here, though, so that'll end the 5th inning. But thanks to a couple of 2-out walks and then a RBI single from Harrison Salter, Michigan extends their lead just a little bit here in the 5th. Through 5 innings of play, the score, Michigan 3, Lawrence Tech 1. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
So Christian Bullock was jogging my memory. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, and then I realized who he reminds me of. Prospect for the Tigers, Kristen Stewart, who's just 24 years old. A lot of similarities between these two. Stewart and Bullock both bat lefty, both stand at 6 feet tall, and Stewart a little less heavy, a little heavier than Bullock. Stewart weighing in at 205, Bullock at just 170, but both of these guys, high strikeout guys who can mash when they make contact.
So William Tribuker, who pitched so brilliantly through 5 innings, is actually done for the ball game here. You'll see a reliever coming into the game. It's Troy Miller. Troy Miller coming into this ball game today has made 4 appearances. Has himself an ERA that doesn't look too pretty at 5.23 in 10 1/3 innings of work. He has struck out 8 in those innings, though, and walked 5. Also has an unearned run thrown in there as well. One of Eric Bakic's go-to guys this season. One of the most used out of the bullpen. We saw him back the first game of the Lipscomb series. I believe he went 3 innings in that one.
He went 2 1/3, was relieved by Angelo Smith at the end of the game. Struck out the first 4 guys he faced. Pitched well overall. Got through an inning and 2/3, virtually unharmed, and then in the 9th came in, walked the first 2 guys, gave up a sac fly, and walked another, and Coach Bakic had decided after that he had enough. So his final line from Friday, 2 1/3 pitch, no hits given up, but 3 runs allowed, 2 earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. A solid day for Miller. Would like to see the control improved.
Yeah, Miller really came in just absolutely on fire. As you mentioned, struck out the first 4 guys he faced, and then just lost it as the game went on. Perhaps fatigue setting in for a reliever that's not used to necessarily going multiple innings. He has a tough task here in the 6th. He faces the heart of the Lawrence Tech order, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters of Michael Rinke, Shawn Fannin, and Austin King. Miller, the righty, facing the lefty Rinke, winds up the first pitch. In there for a strike. No, off the plate away, barely. Just missed with that one. Account goes to 1-0.
So Troy Miller entering for Tribuker. Tribuker finished the day, 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run, not earned, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts.
First pitch, or the second pitch here is hit high and deep towards left field. Miles Lewis going to that left field fence, running out of room. It's gone! Off the top of the wall and out of the ballpark. Michael Rinke with a opposite field blast towards left field. And once again, Lawrence Tech able to crawl back within 1. The solo homer has it Michigan 3, Lawrence Tech 2.
So just like that, Lawrence Tech has cut this lead in half. Lawrence Tech loving it. And now Shawn Fannin, who is another power threat, following Michael Rinke up.
Saw Fannin hit probably the hardest hit ball of the day for either team off of that wall that was just cleared by Rinke all the way back in the first inning. Looking like he's trying to clear it there as he takes a big swing and a miss at the first pitch he sees from Troy Miller. Counts 0-1.
So Tribuker lowering his ERA to 2.53 after that start. Very impressive from him, and he's a pitcher of record for the Wolverines.
Have to make that lead hold up, though, does the Wolverines bullpen as the 0-1 pitch misses just off the plate away for ball 1. It's 1-1. Working quickly for Miller. That big breaking ball in there for a strike. Brings the count to 1-2. Fannin gave up on that one very early. See if he goes back to that big breaking ball on 1-2. Nope, he blows him away with a fastball there for strike 3. Fannin swinging straight through that one. Now there's 1 out in the inning, nobody on, and bring up the 4-hitter Austin King.
Good job from Miller to bounce back, not let that home run get to him. Going right after Shawn Fannin, one of the best hitters in this Lawrence Tech lineup, and sitting him right back down.
So we do have ourselves a bit of a pinch hitter here for Lawrence Tech. It'll be Logan Barker taking the licks instead of Austin King. First pitch he sees here from Troy Miller's in there for a strike 0-1. Barker coming into this one. So he takes strike 2 from Miller, 0-2. Not a ton of action. It's the 0-2 pitch now, misses low and away. for ball number 1.
Miller again going right after Logan Barker here, I believe a pinch hitter for Lawrence Tech.
He's hitting .204 on the season, .328 on base percentage. Let's see. 1-2 pitch missed low and away again. That brings it to 2-2. Barker stands, and that right-handed batter, in fact, choking up now here on 2-2. Fouls one high behind the plate. Salter gives chase for a second, but that one bounces off the roof of the press box here and goes off behind us. So souvenir for someone out there by the parking lot, and the count will remain at 2-2. Barker stands over there, 6 foot 205, crouches low in that batter's box on the right side. Takes the 2-2 pitch here, low and away for ball 3.
Austin King, who's one of the better hitters in this Lawrence Tech lineup, being subbed out for Barker after 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, so a day to forget for him.
A big swing and a miss there for Barker, though, so he continues the trend of the DHs. Combined, the DHs have themselves a hat trick for Lawrence Tech in this one. So that's the second straight strikeout here for Troy Miller. Now there's 2 gone in the inning.
Always a tough day when the guy's playing the position that literally has hitter in the name. Can't do that.
Gotta feel good for the Wolverines pitching staff, though. As Troy Miller fires the first pitch here to Joseph Russo in there for a strike with a breaking ball 0-1.
Beautiful, beautiful breaking ball there from Miller to start out. Wasn't even a get me over. I mean, he was throwing that hard and throwing it for a strike.
See what he goes with here. He throws a fastball here that catches the outside corner and brings things to 0-2 now. Miller, very unpredictable, pitching backwards here in this at-bat. We saw him earlier on just throwing that breaking ball in there on a 1-1 pitch. Really mixing things up, has these hitters off balance, and it proves there as he swings and a misses. Does Joseph Russo for strike 3. So after giving up the leadoff home run to Michael Rinke, Troy Miller recovers and strikes out 3 straight, all of them swinging, to get the Wolverines out of the inning. But as you mentioned, leadoff homer in the inning does get Lawrence Tech back within 1. After 5.5 innings of play here, the score: Michigan 3, Lawrence Tech 2 on WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan baseball.
Good job from Miller to bounce back from the leadoff home run. We're going to have another pitching change here from Lawrence Tech, it looks like. I'm getting worried because, as I mentioned before, my scorecard only has 7 slots for pitchers. So I'll have to try to figure that out.
This will be pitcher number 6 here to start inning number 6. It'll be Matt Blunk coming into the ballgame. Blunk on the year has appeared in 8 games, did make 1 start. He's 1-0 with a .350 ERA. Has pitched a fair amount with 18 innings pitched on the season. Struck out 13 in that time, only walked 7. I will say this about Lawrence Tech, aside from the control issues bit last inning, very impressive without walking many guys at all. They've been kind of cruising through, going after these Wolverine hitters, just daring them to put the ball in play. Michigan has, but only 3 runs to show for it on 7 hits.
Yeah, Lawrence Tech has done a very good job today of hanging with the Wolverines. They trail by 1, but we're getting now into the part of the game where the Wolverines have struggled. They struggled against Lipscomb. I think their only 2 runs from the 6th to 9th inning came on Jonathan Engelman's 2-run dinger in Friday's contest. So now leading off the 6th inning for the Wolverines is Blake Nelson, and I'm sure that Nelson and the rest of the Wolverines lineup will be looking to get on the board here in the late innings.
And Blake Nelson will be leading things off, the third baseman for the Wolverines today. He's 1 for 2 on the ball game, singled back in the 2nd, grounded out to his counterpart over at 3rd back in the 4th. Again, starting just his 2nd game of the year. Got his first start over the weekend in Nashville, the junior college transfer. Part of what the Wolverines considered, and what was considered by recruiting services as the best recruiting class in Big Ten history since they started keeping track. As the first pitch to Blake Nelson from the lefty Baker, or rather not Baker, the lefty Blunk.
It's too many pitchers to keep track of. I don't blame you.
There's so many at this point, as the 0-1 pitch misses outside for a ball, 1-1. They all look very similar in stature also. No one overly, I don't want to say charismatic is wrong, but overly identifiable on this team, as the 1-1 pitch misses outside for a ball, 2-1. Like the likes of, say, Jeffrey Crisan for Lipscomb, who was a presence out there. I believe it was like 5 or 6 foot and 250. You could definitely pick him out in a lineup as the 2-1 pitch. The breakabout misses away, 3-1.
Good thing for Lawrence Tech is that if none of them are particularly recognizable, that means they all look like ball players.
That's true. The 3-1 pitch in there for a strike, 3-2.
So Nelson, after trying to draw his first walk of the day, now finds himself knotted up at 3-2. 1 for 2 on the day with a single.
This one he bounces towards third. Fielded on a couple hops. Nice play over there by Childs, who makes the throw to first in time. Fielding that short hop with ease. So now 1 gone in the inning. That'll bring up the first baseman, Jessie Franklin.
Fun fact for all of you listeners at home, Jessie Franklin, who's playing first base for the Wolverines today, has the same walk-up song as former Mets first baseman Lucas Duda, in case you were wondering.
Today is the first day for the Wolverines to break out their walk-up songs. Asked about it a bit at media days. Jessie Franklin bounced one towards first, but off of the glove of Rinke. Had some tough luck there. A tough hop on this turf and bounces off his glove and away from where the second baseman Guff was playing. So Jessie Franklin will be on base for the 3rd time in the ballgame today. We'll see how this one's scored. Maybe the 3rd time he's on base in a 3rd different way. He had previously reached on a fielder's choice in a single. That one may go down as an error there on the first baseman, Rinke.
Still waiting for the official score to decide, and they do rule it a single for Jessie Franklin. Now Jimmy Kerr will see his first action of the day.
Coming in for Jack Blomgren here. We'll see how the defensive alignment changes just a second as the first pitch misses low and away for a ball, 1-0. They did give Jessie Franklin a single on that one, though. Apparently ruled that that hop rather was tough enough to warrant giving a single to Franklin. Pickoff throw to first, though, in time. What a move there by Blunk. Quick move from the lefty. Gets Franklin leaning, and the freshman, after just getting on base so with a little bit of luck, gets subsequently picked off.
Yeah, that's a rally killer. A little bit of his freshman showing there. It's tough. It's tough, especially with a lefty on the mound, to get a good-sized lead.
So now Jimmy Kerr's in there with now a 2-0 count after that one misses. Nobody on base with 2 gone in the inning. As you mentioned, seeing his first action of the ball game. Swings and misses here at a 2-0 pitch. Big swing. Did just barely get a piece of it according to the home plate umpire. So 2-1 the count. Kerr coming into this and batting just 129. A regular starter at third base for the Wolverines. Head coach Eric Backich just trying to mix things up. As the 2-1 pitch misses outside yet again and brings the count to 3 balls, 1 strike.
Kerr in the Lipscomb series was 0 for 5 with 3 walks.
He does have a good eye, and it's showing here as he's up in the count 3-1. And now up in the count 4-1 as he will stride on over to first base with a walk in his first appearance of the day. And he'll be on first base with 2 gone in the inning for Akeo Thomas.
So we were talking about this after the finale of the Lipscomb series, whether you would see Jimmy Kerr ever taking some reps at shortstop, and my guess is that Kerr's going to go to third, Nelson will go to second, and Akeo Thomas will head to short.
Akeo Thomas bloops one towards center field, and ranging over, making the grab in shallow center field is McGuff from his second base position. So 1 pitch, 1 out there, gets out of any sort of potential 2-out jam that may have occurred. The Wolverines go down here in the 6th without pushing across another run. So after these 6 innings of play, they'll still lead by a score of 3-2 over the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils. Here on WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan baseball, Austin Falco alongside Max Brill bringing you the action in today's ball game.
Thank you all for joining us.
Of course, we appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'd be remiss if we didn't want to mention also If you're not already on WCBNsports.org listening, you may be listening on youtube.com/WCBNsports. Go take a look over at WCBNsports.org. Plenty of good blogs, especially come tournament time, NCAA tournament time. There's been a couple good blogs put out there about some potential sleepers when you're filling out your bracket, as well as one that was just put out by Lucas Vargas.
I was a huge fan of this article.
Why every single team that is in the tournament this year has a chance to win the NCAA tournament.
There were some creative reasons. I mean, North Carolina's wasn't that creative. His reason for North Carolina was that they won last year, but I thought that was some hard-hitting analysis. He picked Marshall to beat Wichita State because Wichita State's head coach's last name is also Marshall. So I think that's the first time that's ever happened. Like, it's a great article. Go give it a read if you have not already. WCBNsports.org.
Definitely worth a look. It gets even more fun when you get into the 16 season. You got to come up with something there. So we got another pitching change out there for the Wolverines. Get you the number in just a second. They're facing Tyler Childs, a third baseman, who made a nice play last inning. He takes the first pitch for a strike, 0-1.
And I believe I was right. If I'm not mistaken, it's Kerr at third, K.O. Thomas at short, and Nelson at second.
That's what it looks like here as the second pitch of the at-bat is a check swing. Puts Childs down in the count 0-2.
We have a defensive substitution as well, if I am not mistaken. Behind the dish now for the Wolverines will be Marcus Chavez.
Yeah, and it was my mistake. We did not have a pitching change. The umpire was denoting the change at catcher here. Chavez coming into the ballgame. So the third catcher for the Wolverines catches. Strike three called there as Troy Miller drops the hammer on Tyler Childs. Sets him down. That's 4 straight strikeouts for Troy Miller. After giving up that leadoff home run back in the 6th last inning, he's cruising now, and now it'll be Tyler Cleesby stepping up to the plate as a potential next victim. Or rather not, as we're actually going to get a pinch hitter now for Tyler Cleesby, who was 0 for 1 on the day with a sacrifice bunt. Taking his place instead is going to be Mr. Robinette.
Ryan Robinette, the sophomore infielder, right-hander, stands at 6 feet tall, 175 from Midland, Michigan.
He splits the first 2 pitches of this at-bat 1-1. So the righty stands there waggling that bat above his right shoulder. Very open stance. 1-1 pitch here from Troy Miller. Misses just off the corner away. Bring the count to 2-1. The 2-1 pitch misses just low now. So Troy Miller, after striking out 4, in danger of losing the pinch hitter Robinette here. He's down on the count 3-1. The pitch low again, just barely missed, but he missed nonetheless. So the Blue Devils have their first runner on in a little bit. Have a runner on first with 1 gone in the inning for Max Cadman, the catcher.
So Miller, despite his struggles out of the bullpen in the last game, managed to strike out 4 straight. Today, striking out 4 straight as well. That streak coming to an end with the walk of Robinette.
Max Cadman, the left-handed hitting catcher, takes strike 1 in the outside corner, 0-1.
It's good for the Wolverines to find that Troy Miller has been so effective in short stints. Once he goes more than an inning and a third, an inning and 2/3, gets a little shaky. But to have that guy who could potentially fill in the 8th inning as Miller delivers a ball to Cadman.
That one missed low and in there, even the count at 1-1.
But to have that guy who can slot in 7th, 8th inning, come in for a clean inning of work is crucial, will be crucial down the stretch for the Wolverines.
1-1 pitch misses just low again, so Troy Miller having a problem getting the ball up right now. He falls behind again in the count here, this time 2-1 to Max Cadman. Cadman 0 for 2 on the day, did reach base and drive in a run on an E6 back in the 5th. This time he hits one high in the air towards right field corner. Raging over is Bullock. That one's going to get down in the right field corner for a fair ball. Bullock fields. Sending the runner is Cleesby. He's coming home. The relay throw offline by a lot. I think it actually got past the cutoff man. Meanwhile, Cadman cruising all the way to third as he put that one into that right field corner. So just like that, this ball game was all tied up at 3 apiece.
And really a tough break here for William Tribuker. I know Miller's on the mound, but Tribuker now not eligible for the win. Wins and losses really don't matter in today's game. Pitcher's not going the full 9 innings, but as a pitcher, you always want to be able to pick up that win, and Tribuker not able to do that today.
So Troy Miller perhaps losing again. As we saw, just that fatigue maybe setting in. See how they score that one. It may be a double and advancing to third on the throw was Cadman, or they may just score it as a straight triple, still waiting on the official scoring. Nonetheless, Cadman's over there at third as the go-ahead run after driving in the tying run here in the 7th inning of this one.
So a conference on the mound now looks like it's Chris Fetter joining Marcus Chavez and Troy Miller on the mound. And they quickly end their little chat. Runner now on third base for the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils. They are tied up with the Wolverines at 3 here in the top of the 7th inning and threatening to go ahead with just 1 out.
First pitch here in there for a strike to the second baseman McGuff. He'll go down on the count 0-1. As mentioned, chance to put Lawrence Tech Blue Devils ahead here with a fly ball to the outfield. Michigan field playing in. But this 0-1 pitch is on the corner for strike 2 to McGuff.
So just to give you an update on the last batter, Max Cadman, they rule his at-bat a double to right, an RBI for him, and advancing to third on a throwing error by Bullock.
This one hit right at the second baseman. He fields, throws over to first, and it throws to home rather, and dropped by Chavez. Nelson fielded through home. It was a little high, but very, very playable for Chavez, and he just tried to make the tag without having the ball. Another error here is going to cost the Wolverines another run, and they now trail on this one by a score of 4-3.
After seeing some good fundies from the Wolverines early in this one, falling apart a little bit here. 2 errors on 2 consecutive plays, trailing now 4-3 against the Blue Devils, and it's once again the late inning woes that are coming back to bite the Wolverines. Strike 1 to Eddie Dobkowski.
Yeah, the leadoff hitter back up to the plate yet again. He squares around a bunt and pulls back, but it was a strike anyway.
And they do rule it an error on Chavez instead of Nelson.
No RBI on the play there for McGuff, if you're keeping track of his stats in real time back at home. Eddie Dobkowski now the right-handed hitting center fielder. And a 1-1 count takes the pitch high. Count goes to 2-1. No action in the Wolverine bullpen right now to potentially relieve Troy Miller. He did give up that walk and double. Oh, should have gotten an out on that last play. Definitely would have changed the scope of the inning at the very least. Instead, runner on first. The count is actually 3-0, not 2-1. They had it wrong on the scoreboard here for a second, so 4 straight balls now here from Troy Miller. Runners on first and second now, only 1 gone in the inning still. Lawrence Tech perhaps trying to play a little add-on.
So we're seeing this similar thing that happened to Miller in the first game on Friday against Lipscomb, and we'll have a little conference between Chavez and Miller on the mound. Miller in that game struck out the first 4 batters he faced, and then got 1 more ground out and started walking everybody. Today it hasn't really been the walks that have been killing him, but a similar thing, gave up a leadoff home run, and now we'll get the pitching change. Eric Bakich comes out to relieve Troy Miller of his duties for the day.
Don't see anybody warming up in the Michigan bullpen, but they do have that indoor facilities there, and sure enough, that's where our next pitcher will be coming from. Looked like Coach Bakich motioned for a lefty, but it is not a lefty coming out of the bullpen. It will be the righty here. Get you a number in just a second. Michigan wearing the jerseys without the numbers on the front today. Their new pinstripe uniforms that are all white, blue pinstripes, the yellow, or rather the maize M on the chest up near the left-hand side. The blue numbers on the back with the maize piping as well. Lawrence Tech, meanwhile, the gray pants, the black tops, blue numbers and letters, and the white piping on that one. Couple of sharp looks out here at Ray Fisher today.
I like the Wolverines uniforms today. They look very sleek. Not something we got to see down in Nashville.
Yeah, they did not break them out down in Nashville. Went with their traditional rotation of the gray, blue, and maize uniforms. As it looks like it'll be Jace Van Senna coming in. We also saw him back in the series in Nashville. After Alec Renard was scratched from the Sunday start, it was Jace Van Senna that started things off in that one. When he comes in, or rather when he starts his work here, he'll have runners on first and second. Only one gone in the inning here in the top of the seventh. Lawrence Tech leading by a score of 4-3. So far on the year for Van Senna, he's pitched 8 innings. He's 0-3 with a 10.12 ERA. Gave up 10 runs, 9 of them earned. Only struck out 4. Only has walked 1 though. It's been contact given up and hard hits. Surrendering already 8 extra base hits in those 8 innings of work.
Yeah, Van Senna looking to right the ship here, coming in a clutch situation. So Coach Bakich letting his player know that he has faith in him by bringing him in with the team trailing by 1 and a runner on the bases. Troy Miller's day is done after an inning and a third, 2 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, giving up 3 runs, 2 earned, and he is responsible right now for the runners on first and second base.
So the theme for the Wolverines, as it was this past weekend, just not quite able to finish things off. In both of their 2 losses, they had leads, but could not hang on in the 7-4 loss and the 4-2 loss against Lipscomb over the weekend. And then this one here, they led by scores of, or most recently by a score of 3-1. Ended up giving up a home run, and then in this inning, a couple of runs scratched across so far for Lawrence Tech. The big RBI double by Cadman, and this one is single right back up the middle by Rinke. McGuff's going to be sent. The throw towards home. Tried to be cut off at the mound, but bounced off the mound. Doesn't matter as McGuff comes all the way around to score. Dopkowski goes from first to third on the play. And Lawrence Tech all of a sudden in firm control of this one, leading 5-3.
Tough break there for Van Senna, inducing the ground ball, which is always something you want to see. Ground balls get outs. That one looked like kind of a seeing eye base hit, found its way right up the middle. And just like that, Michael Rinke has his second straight hit, second straight RBI of the day.
And now the potential to blow this one wide open with Shawn Fannin stepping to the plate. The best hitter in this Lawrence Tech lineup. Only 1 for 3 on the day as he thinks about swinging at one that misses well off the plate, low and away, but holds up, so the count 1-0.
Check the swing there. Good call by the umpire. Did not go around.
Just mentioned Fannin 1 for 3 on the day. Hit a hard and long double back in the first, but is struck out in his subsequent at-bats, swinging both times. This time he checks his swing and goes around. Took an appeal down to first base to rule that. So the count's going to even up at 1-1.
Yeah, that was Michael Schultz at first base making the call.
Looked like the correct call from up here. Went on the high fastball. As a big swing there. Definitely went on that one. As he'll go down to the count 1-2 after coming up empty on the high fastball.
Van Senna blowing away these opposing hitters. Not the first batter, but at least against Fannin has been able to blow it by him.
1-2. Misses outside for a ball, evens us up at 2-2.
And Van Senna's windup kind of reminds me a little bit of Carson Fulmer of the White Sox. Kind of a little hectic all over the place, but effective nonetheless.
Van Senna comes set, glove at his shoulders. This one has popped up on the infield. This will not get the job done for a sacrifice fly as Akeo Thomas, now playing shortstop, calls off the third baseman Kerr and makes an easy grab for out number 2. So a much needed out number 2. They retired on the pop-up to short. So now we have Logan Barker stepping up to the plate for his second looks of the day.
Yeah, this will be the 8th batter of the inning for Lawrence Tech.
Logan Barker came in as the DH last inning and struck out swinging. He fouls this one back to the screen and goes down 0-1. This would be huge for Van Senta to get out of this one. Only giving out that 1 run since he came in and keeping the Wolverines within striking distance. They're only down 2 right now here in the 7th. Plenty of time to mount a small comeback, but that's not going to help there as he plucks Logan Barker right in the middle of the back. It looked like a breaking ball got away from him. So a hit by pitch loads up the bases here for the 9th batter of the inning, Joseph Russo.
And much like the aforementioned Carson Fulmer, Van Senta having a little control issues here, hitting Logan Barker, who struck out in his last plate appearance. And we're going to get a a pinch hitter here for the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils. It'll be Jackson Walkowiak, number 25, pinch hitting for Joseph Russo.
Walkowiak swings and misses. Big swing there on his first looks of the day for strike 1. Walkowiak, one of several substitutions being made throughout this game by Lawrence Tech. He thinks about swinging at one that misses high and in but holds up, so the count's even up at 1-1.
Good news for the Wolverines is that they will have 2, 3, 4 hitters coming up in the 7th to try to do some damage.
Walkowiak on the season in 50 at-bats, batting .320, but swings and misses at a good, what looked like a 2-seamer out of the hand of Jace Van Senta, moving low and away from the lefty. And now the count 1-2. Van Senta a chance to get out of this one.
The righty senior from Millbury, Ohio, looking to put the Blue Devils away here in the 7th inning.
1-2 pitch. Check swing on a breaking ball. Appeal down. Did not go. That was close. I think it was the right call made out there by Andrew Ryman, who's standing back near second base right now. So now a 2-2 count. Still a chance for Van Senta to get out of this one, but Walkowiak just a little bit more alive as he fouls one off the glove of Chavez, who couldn't quite hang on to the foul tip.
Chavez having a little trouble so far. Squeezing the baseball on that fielder's choice. The throw from Blake Nelson couldn't quite corral it, and then just there, opportunity to get out of the inning and couldn't squeeze the 3rd strike.
Worth noting, cold coming into this inning was Chavez, a defensive substitution. He blocks one that goes off to the right side and barely keeps it close enough for Dopkowski, the center fielder, to not come and score from 3rd base. Perhaps playing a little cautious with 2 outs was Lawrence Tech, but nonetheless, count's going to go full now on that ball that bounced in the dirt.
I don't know that that was close enough. I think Dopkowski, especially with the speed as the leadoff hitter, could have scored, but for some reason opting not to go.
Now the 3-2 pitch. All the runners will be moving, and this one is lined towards short. Akeo Thomas off of his side and into center field. Run scores. 2 runs come across to score, and things are just unraveling for the Wolverines.
So they've batted around, have the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils here in the 7th. They'll send their 10th man of the inning to the plate, Tyler Childs now, the 3rd baseman. And K.O. Thomas making another error at shortstop.
And to be honest, I don't know how much longer you can keep putting him at shortstop at this point. He does not look comfortable at all over there, whether it's fielding or throwing the ball. It just unravels whenever he seems to go over there.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's been a tough go of things for Thomas at shortstop. At second base, he's looked pretty good, but it's been a different story for the most part on the other side of the Keystone.
So Tyler Childs gets his 2nd at-bat of the inning. He struck out to start things. Fouls this one back to the screen and goes down 0-1. Now the 0-1 pitch from Van Senta bounces in the dirt, but once again stopped by Chavez and kept in front of him, so the count goes to 1-1.
So Lawrence Tech has scored 5 in this inning. Looking to add more here with Childs.
They do have a runner over there on 3rd in Barker, as well as one on 1st in Walkowiak. This one is fouled straight back and over our heads for strike number 2. The count's 1-2. So far, no noticeable movement out of our what we'll call a sparse crowd today here on a chilly day at Ray Fisher Stadium. The Wolverines not sitting pretty right now. Came into this inning with a 1-run lead, are now down 4, and there's a chopper that's going to go over the head of Van Senna towards short. Akeo Thomas makes the play, throws to first, not in time. Another run scores.
I think that's going to go down as a hit. Thomas double clutching on the grounder there, and once again the turf coming into play. Really, really high bounce. Tough play for Thomas. Van Senna might have gotten in his way a little bit. Either way now, Lawrence Tech extending their lead to 8-3. Only 7 hits on the day, so you can see the Wolverines kind of beating themselves with 4 errors.
Yeah, that one was ruled a single, and rightfully so. That was, again, as you said, a tough chopper, one of those high ones that just a byproduct of playing on the turf here. First pitch here from Van Senna to Ryan Robinette is in there for a strike. 0-1. Robinette came in to pinch hit back near the beginning of this inning, was the first man to reach. He walked and came around to score the tying run of the ball game.
Van Senna really pumping gas right now. Hasn't worked,
pitch.
but
0-1 pitch misses outside, but as you mentioned, that one was definitely just absolutely fireballed in there. See, 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss there from Robinette. Has himself down 1-2 in the count.
So with 2 outs here, Wolverines, Jace Van Senna specifically, looking to stop the bleeding.
Van Senna now up 1-2 in the count. Runners on first and second trying to get out of it. Fouled off, though, by Robinette to the right side and near the cars out there in the parking lot. Didn't hear anything notable. I think it skipped over the cars that are out there. Of course, we had an incident last year, and it was Jeremy Parks and myself calling a car parked over by Yost Ice Arena for an ice skating competition. Just happened to find a ball in their windshields. A swing and a miss for strike 3 from Robinette. Finally gets the Wolverines out of the inning. But as you mentioned, Lawrence Tech scoring 6 runs, turning a 1-run deficit into a 5-run lead. Through 6.5 innings of play here, Lawrence Tech leads Michigan by a score of 8-3 on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
You can't really fault Van Senna there for too much. Getting some ground balls. A lot of fieldable balls for the Wolverines, throwing 24 pitches, 17 of them for strikes. Just they kept finding holes or kept finding guys who made errors. The Wolverines in that inning committing 3 errors. Lawrence Tech leaving the bases loaded there. Leaving runners on the corners. So 2 left on base, 3 errors, a whole lot of hits, 2 of them. And Wolverines now trail at 8-3.
At this point for the Wolverines, they're all huddled around the dugout. Cannot be a nice talk from Eric Bakich at this point. He was already frustrated after the last couple of weekends. After a game like today, you have to believe he may just about be losing it over there in that third base dugout.
Yeah, tough break once again for Troy Miller, allowing 5 runs, only 2 of them earned. And Jace Van Senna in his 2/3 of an inning. 2 runs came in during that time, but he was not responsible for any of them. Most of the runs in that inning unearned, actually. And just give you a quick game recap. Wolverines now trail it 8-3. Wolverines 3 runs on 8 hits. They've committed 4 errors, 3 of them in the last inning. Lawrence Tech 8 runs on 7 hits and a pristine performance in the field from them. No errors committed. Wolverines runs coming in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. K.O. Thomas doubled and scored on Miles Lewis's ground out. Then Harrison Salter, pinch hitting for Brock Keener, singled and scored on Jessie Franklin's ground out. On Jessie Franklin's single to the pitcher, my bad. And then once again in the 5th inning, Miles Lewis walking, then scoring on a single from the aforementioned Salter. For Lawrence Tech, they scored in the 5th, 6th, and then a whole lot in the 7th.
Dominic Clemente leading things off here in the bottom half of the 7th for the Wolverines, trying to claw their way back into this one at this point. See, first pitch misses away for a ball, 1-0. Did not catch the new Lawrence Tech pitcher. There's bound to be one, as we've figured out throughout this ball game. Turns out it's number 22, Caleb Homan. Homan's second pitch also missed away for a ball, but this one is able to get at least a part of the outside of the plate there for strike number 1. The count's 2-1 on Clemente. Clemente 0 for 2 on the day. A couple ground outs, did walk back in the first inning as well. 2-1 pitch to him, bounces in the dirt. He's ahead in the count 3-1. Wolverines dugout very vocal right now, so whatever Coach Bakich said during that between innings break certainly has them all fired up and back into this ball game. This one was fouled off of the hands of Clemente and back to the backstop. Count goes full, 3-2.
So the Wolverines trail by 5 here with 3 innings left to play. We've seen weirder things. I can certainly say that we've seen weirder things.
The payoff pitch here. Big swing and a miss from Clemente. He goes down on strikes here to start the bottom of the 7th inning. That'll bring up Miles Lewis.
Wolverines, first 2 innings, no strikeouts, and since then they have struck out 5 times in as many innings.
So Lewis, the switch hitter, batting from the left side of the plate against the righty Homan. First pitch here is bounced towards the right side, but foul, and it'll get itself into the dugout for Lawrence Tech. Count goes to 0-1. Lewis himself 0 for 2 on the ball game with an RBI and a walk. He grounds one towards short, eats Cleesby up a little bit. The throw to first, not in time. That'll probably go down as an E6. There's Lawrence Tech getting on the air parade that's seemingly struck this inning. And the Wolverines have a runner on first with only 1 gone. Jonathan Engelman striding to the plate.
So the first error of the day for Lawrence Tech.
It does go on Cleesby. It's a throwing error officially, as he was able to field it, but then bounced the throw over to first that didn't get there in time.
And I think that might actually be Ryan Robinette who pinch hit for Cleesby, so perhaps the backup infielder having some trouble there, fresh off the bench.
Engelman now takes the first pitch, belt high over the middle of the plate for a strike, 0-1. If there was a time to jump on a first pitch, that may have been it there for Jonathan Engelman. Just seems a little out of sorts so far this season. With his 0 for 2 day today with a walk, he's average sitting at 237, on base percentage below 300 at 297, but that'll bump up a little bit as he turns into a breaking ball that hits him right in the 2 on his back. So he'll take first base on the hit by pitch, and the Wolverines now with 2 runners on, only 1 gone in the inning. And it'll be Marcus Chavez stepping to the plate.
Excellent walk-up song choice from Marcus Chavez, the new Drake song that debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and has been there ever since. 7 straight weeks for Drake.
Marcus Chavez trying to get a little streak of his own here, trying to get another runner reaching base. The first pitch he sees misses high for a ball, 1-0. After a strikeout start of the inning, an error on the shortstop, Robinette, and then a hit by pitch. Have 2 runners on as Chavez hits one in the air towards right field. Should be an easy grab there for Fannin. Tagging is Miles Lewis from second. The throw towards third. Got him! What a throw by Fannin, and frankly a questionable decision there from Miles Lewis.
I don't know if that was Miles Lewis making the decision or whoever's coaching third today for the Wolverines, but down by 5 runs certainly cannot be making that third out at third base. And people talk about you don't want to make the first out or the third out at third base. To be frank, you don't want to make the first out or the third out anywhere. But third base, of all places, especially down 5 runs, is not the spot to be doing it.
The difference between being on second base and third base with 2 outs is marginal, so there's really no there's really not any huge benefit in trying that unless it's a no-brainer, a ball hit well deep into the corner. That was set up perfectly for Fannin there. He was running in on a shallow fly ball and was able to get behind it and made just a 1-hop throw that was nice and easy tag for Childs to make. Got it down just in time, and it adds to what's been a cavalcade of errors both mentally and physically for the Wolverines the last couple innings.
Showing off the SAT vocabulary there with cavalcade.
As we get another Pitching change for the Wolverines here. Ben Dragani coming into the ballgame, the Wolverines' fourth pitcher of the ballgame.
We saw Dragani in the second game against Lipscomb. He came in, relieved Carl Kaufman. Dragani went 3 1/3 in that contest. 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, no runs allowed. So pretty good performance from him there. He'll look to continue his momentum from that game and try to hold Lawrence Tech to a scoreless 8th.
Yeah, Ben Dragani, one of the bright spots of that weekend out of the bullpen. With that appearance, he's now appeared 4 times, pitched 11 innings with a 3.27 ERA. In those 11 innings pitched, he struck out 6, walked 5. Only giving up 6 hits, opponents hitting 162 against the freshman lefty.
So final line on Jace Van Senna for the Wolverines. 2/3 of an inning pitched, 2 hits, 2 runs, none earned, and a strikeout for him. Also hit a guy. Faced 6 batters. ERA down to 9.35, which I don't know if that's saying much. Van Senna really has not had it this season after last season, opening the season with 34 1/3 innings pitched and no walks. Really been struggling with his control this year.
Van Senna, at times last year, looked at the Wolverines' probably second best starter. You couldn't really say the best because Oliver Jaski was just absolute money. There's a reason he went so highly in the MLB draft. He would come out on Fridays and set the tone for the series, and then when Van Senna would occasionally get those Saturday starts, he would shut it down. He'd look fantastic every time he went on the mound. So far, not able to capture that luck this season, and perhaps the reason he's coming out of the bullpen instead of starting on a regular basis. Nonetheless, here it's Dragini coming in, and first batter he faces is the left-handed hitting catcher Max Cadman, who fouls it at the plate for an 0-1 count.
You don't see a lot of those anymore in baseball, left-handed hitting catchers.
The 0-1 pitch to him is a breaking ball in there for a strike, 0-2. Cadman 1 for 3 on the day. He doubled just last inning and drove in a run. The go-ahead run to be exact. As he swings and misses here at a ball that was just blown right past him by Ben Dragani, really showing his stuff here over his last couple of appearances that we've seen at least. So 1 gone in the inning here on 3 pitches. So I'll bring up Mackenzie McGuff, the second baseman.
And McGuff today is 0 for 3 with a run scored in that brutal 7th inning for the Wolverines. He reached on a fielder's choice in that inning.
He skies this one towards right field. Bullock going back near the track, makes the grab, backpedaling near that track in right center field, or rather in right field, just underneath the shadow of the scoreboard that's now starting to take effect. So 2 quick outs, 2 outs on 4 pitches here, and back to the top of the Blue Devils order for Eddie Dubkowski.
Yeah, Dubkowski today is 0 for 3 with a walk and a run, again in the 7th.
Breaking ball from the lefty. Dragani missed somewhere, not quite sure where, probably a bit low if I'm guessing from up here. Questioned home plate umpire Stuart Hall a couple times, but he is standing pretty much directly in our line of sight on where we'll be able to tell if that ball missed low or not. This one missed clearly outside, though, from Dragani, so the count goes to 2-0. Working quickly now, the lefty fires the 2-0 pitch on the inside corner for a strike, 0-1. Or rather, strike 1, it's 2-1. The righty Dubkowski stands in there, bat resting on the shoulder, and now swings and fouls one off the screen to the right side and into the Lawrence Tech dugout. So the count evened up at 2 balls, 2 strikes now. This would be a much-needed quick inning here for the Wolverines if Ben Dragani can retire him here. And he does on a swing and a miss on a ball in the dirt. Fielded by Chavez, throws down to first to complete the out. So it goes a strikeout swinging and a 2-3 putout. 1-2-3 inning put together by Ben Dragani, the first one of the ballgame for the Wolverines since way back in the 3rd. And with that, we'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Lawrence Tech still leading by a score of 8-3 over the Michigan Wolverines. You're listening to the Michigan baseball coverage here on WCBN Sports.
Dragani doing a fantastic job there of coming in from the bullpen, really setting the tone for the Wolverines, how they should be approaching this 8th and 9th inning. Got to come in, and it's not over. Dragani just showed that, so Got to hope the Wolverines' bats follow. They've been silent so far in the 6th and 7th inning, something we are becoming all too familiar with here early in the season.
Wolverines do their work early on offense and then just seem to take the rest of the day off. They cannot afford to do so anymore. It's put up or shut up time for this Wolverine offense, especially coming home in your home opener against an opponent that you should be beating in Lawrence Tech, an NAIA school. Granted, a solid one. They've started off the season 16-9, playing fairly well for themselves. They have some definite players on this team, but definitely not a team that, if you're Michigan, you should be losing to, coming off of a 40-plus win season, no matter how many guys you lost.
I don't know that that's fair. I mean, I agree with you that they should not be losing this game, but 11 players is a whole lot to lose. That's nearly a third of your roster.
The first pitch hit of Christian Bullock is fouled down at the plate, 0-1. Bullock, one of the guys that's stepping in for some of the losses from last year's squad. So far, 1 for 3 on the day, singled back in the second, struck out his next 2 times at the plate, and now the count even up at 1-1. For the first time in the ballgame, Lawrence Tech keeping their pitcher in for 2 innings. It's Holman still in the ballgame as Bullock bounces one towards first base. On the short hop rather, is Rinke there to make the play right next to the first base bag, so he steps on it by himself, 3 unassisted for the first out here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. That'll bring up Blake Nelson, who started over at third base today and moved over to second during the defensive shifting back in the 7th inning. Nelson 1 for 3 on the ball game, singled in the second, grounded the third twice so far in the 4th and the 6th. First pitch to him here is fouled off towards the right side. Running out of room is the right fielder Fannin, and he'll watch this one go into the Lawrence Tech bullpen. Counts 0-1.
Nelson has been a pleasant surprise for the Wolverines, picking up his first hit in the weekend series against Lipscomb, and then today adding another, hitting .286 on the season.
Holman in a groove now. The 0-1 pitch just misses off the plate inside. Count goes to 1-1 on the righty Nelson. And there's actually a pitch before this while the music was actually still playing for the walk-ups. It was a ball that now it's 2-1, but a ground ball to third for the 3rd time today. Childs Fields makes the play over to first base to retire Nelson for his 3rd straight time. So now with 2 gone in the inning, nobody on, it's up to Jessie Franklin to try to get something going here in the bottom half of the 8th inning for the Wolverines.
Franklin has done a good job today of trying to get off that interstate. Got his average up to 167 with a 2 for 3 performance so far. But unfortunately for him, Holman has looked unhittable so far.
First pitch hit Franklin is a breaking ball that catches the outside corner for a strike, 0-1.
And after Franklin, it'll be Jimmy Kerr if he gets to bat.
Couple of lefties here. Franklin the lefty, Kerr the lefty as well. To face the righty Holman as the ball bounces in the dirt here on the 0-1 pitch to even things up at 1-1. Just mentioned Franklin doubling his hit total on the year with his 2 hits today. Wolverines could use anyone at this point to start getting hot. This one is bounced towards the right side. That'll go foul off near the Lawrence Tech dugout. So the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
So a silver lining for the Wolverines. If Jessie Franklin can get going after his 2 for 3 performance today, perhaps we'll begin to see some hitting from the bottom of the lineup. Nelson 1 of 4, Franklin 2 of 3.
And the 1-2 pitch misses high and away for a ball, goes to 2-2. And one thing that really hurts with the Wolverines taking Brock Keener out back in the 4th inning for Salter is that offense. Keener had been so hot, they switch hitter. See, 2-2 pitch misses well outside to Franklin. It goes to 3-2. He was kind of that bridge hitting in that 5-hole to the bottom of the lineup. And hitting can be contagious sometimes. When you got someone hot like that, it could have potentially helped extend into the bottom half of the order. As Franklin has this one high and deep towards right field. Ranging back is Fannin. He's at the track. Makes the grab, running over towards the line. Nice running grab there from Fannin as he loses his hat midway through as well. So that will retire the side here in the 8th. 1-2-3 inning put together by Homan. And we will head to the 9th. The Wolverines trailing Lawrence Tech by a score of 8-3 on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
Good shoestring catch there by Fannin. Especially hard considering the shadows out there in right field that are starting to materialize with the sun setting here in Ann Arbor. Really got to commend him for that. That's a veteran play.
Looks like for the Wolverines here in the 9th, it'll be Ben Dragani trotting back out. Why not? He was probably been the most effective pitcher since William Tribuker left the ball game. Just last inning, he went 1-2-3. A couple of strikeouts in that one. He will face the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for Lawrence Tech, Michael Rinke, Shawn Fannin, and Logan Barker here in the 9th inning. Desperately need to keep Michigan as close as possible, so they maybe have an inkling of a chance there going into the bottom of the 9th.
And he'll get the top of this lineup. So it's going to be a tall order for him. He'll lead off with Rinke, who's 3 for 4 with a home run, 2 singles, an RBI, 2 runs. Lighten up the stat sheet today is Rinke. And then after that, Shawn Fannin, who's 1 for 4 with a double to left off the wall, nearly a home run in the first inning. And then Logan Barker, who came in as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning and is 0 for 1 with a hit by pitch and run scored.
As a byproduct of that 6-run 7th inning, only 2 players on this Lawrence Tech lineup, or rather 2 slots in the Lawrence Tech lineup, have yet to score a run. One of them coming up second will be Shawn Fannin, but before that it will be a pinch hitter, pinch hitting for Michael Rinke. It's Pierce Mueller, a sophomore outfielder. He squared out a bunt with his first attempt and fouled it for a ball, or for a strike rather, 0-1. He swings and misses at the second pitch he sees, and that'll put him down in the count 0-2. Dragani in a groove now. The lefty stands off towards the third base side of the rubber. The 0-2 pitch. That one sails high and away on him, and that'll go to 1-2.
Dragani doing a good job so far of coming in and throwing strikes, just what the Wolverines needed.
Dragani puts that glove in front of his face, winds up, 1-2. Misses high again. Count goes to 2-2.
So for the Wolverines, once again, it's really been a tale of 2 halves of this game. First half, Tribuker cruising.
This one is hit high and deep towards right center, but ranging over is Bullock. He'll make the catch just near the edge of the shadows out there for out number 1.
Tribuker going 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run not earned, a walk and 4 strikeouts, and then again the wheels kind of falling off for this bullpen. Dragani, the only bright spot, he has pitched an inning so far and induced 2 flyouts to right and 2 strikeouts. Troy Miller and Jason Van Senna combining for a whole lot of runs.
If you're following the pattern here, he's gone strikeout, fly out to right, strikeout, fly out to right. And now it's Shawn Fannin at the plate, who's already struck out twice. He'll try to keep that pattern going. He does miss with the first pitch low, though, and the count's 1-0. And follows up that low miss with a high miss. So count 2-0 now. Dangerous spot to be in against Fannin. Open stance in the right-hand batter's box is Fannin. Very intimidating presence, waving that bat nearly over the plate. As the third pitch misses outside, so he's missed low, he's missed high, he's missed outside. Send this to 3-0. The 3-0 pitch from Dragani misses high again for ball 4, so a 4-pitch walk interrupts what had been a string of 4 straight batters set down to begin Dragani's day.
Good news for Dragani is that runner on first probably doesn't have a great chance of scoring. He can still go after these hitters.
It will be Logan Barker stepping into the plate. He came into the DH spot in the 6th. He's 0 for 1 with a hit by pitch, as you mentioned, and a run scored. He fouls the first pitch off bouncer back to the backstop, 0-1.
This slot in the lineup has 3 strikeouts today. 2 of them belonging to Austin King, who started the game at DH, and 1 of them to Logan Barker in the 6th. He struck out looking.
Worth noting to watch Fannin over there. He's 7 for 7 on stolen base at times, but not going on this one as it's fouled off the plate and then back up, maybe hit the face, I think, of Logan Barker.
I don't know that that caught him in the face, perhaps in the chest or arm. Doesn't look like he's grabbing his head, but still visibly uncomfortable there in the right-handed batter's box.
Definitely came and hit him somewhere in the upper body. Not something you see every day, but definitely hurts.
Again, that turf coming into play.
Now the 0-2 pitch. Late on this one as he fouls it into the parking lot off to the right side. And will remain at 0 balls and 2 strikes in this at-bat.
Good job by Dragani to come back after the 4-pitch walk and go right after Barker.
Dragani stares down Fannin at first. Now this pitch is hit in the air towards left field. Lewis starts back, now comes in, makes the grab on a looping fly ball for out number 2. So some weak contact here induced by Dragani when he's not striking batters out. And with 2 gone in the inning, runner on first. That'll bring up Jackson Wakowiak, who reached on an error by Akeo Thomas back in the 7th and was part of the 6-run unraveling of the Wolverines. First pitch breaking ball here from Dragani, going lefty against lefty, misses low and in for a ball, 1-0. Dragani comes set, still off that third base side as this one is hit in the air towards left field. Drifting back is Lewis. He's able to camp under it though and make the grab for out number 3. So the Wolverines able to put up another 0. Well done there by Ben Dragani despite the walk. Keeps Lawrence Tech off the scoreboard one last time here in the 9th, and it's up to the Wolverines bats now. They trail by a score of 8-3 going into this bottom half of the 9th inning. Got to get something going or they're going to be saddled with a loss here in the home opener.
A good job by Dragani to come in and really limit the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils. Again, 1 walk and 2 strikeouts, same as his performance from last time. No runs allowed, no hits, 2 innings pitched. So Dragani looking to be yet another force at the back end of this bullpen for the Wolverines.
And 1 more pitching change made here by Lawrence Tech.
I was hoping I was going to get through it after they left Homan in for a second inning. I was hoping I would be able to not have to figure out what I'm going to do now with this scorecard. But the 8th pitcher of the day in 9 innings for Lawrence Tech here. It's
David Klug, who appears to be the Lawrence Tech closer. He's appeared 6 times on the air. He's 3-0 with a 1.17 ERA. Has himself a couple saves on the air. In 7 2/3 innings pitched, he struck out 9, only walked 4. Opposing batters hitting just 185 against the sidewinder. It's a righty, and he flings it just about straight sidearm, almost Chris Sale style. For the Wolverines, sending it up as their last chance will be Jimmy Kerr in the 9th spot, then back to the top of the order with Akeo Thomas and Dominic Clementi set to lead things off. It does favor the Wolverines a bit. There are also, I think, a couple lefties with the sidearm throwing Klug on the mound. The first of which is the aforementioned Jimmy Kerr. Kerr came in the 6th inning in place of Jack Blomgren. He worked a walk after a 3-1 count. Boosts his on-base percentage up to 256 on the year, but still sitting down there at 129 in the average department. Have to get something started here, do the Wolverines. First pitch Jimmy Kerr sees is a little 2-seamer that misses, or rather catches the outside corner for a strike. 0-1. Sidearmer Klug works strictly from the stretch and fires the second pitch of the at-bat off the plate away, 1-1.
Kerr today is 0 for 0 with a walk. Stranded at first base.
1-1 pitch. Right down the pipe for strike 2.
What a funky delivery. I mean, you really don't see that. It's almost like looking at Chad Bradford. He doesn't get quite as low, but in terms of righty side armors.
1-2 pitch to Kerr.
Maybe
Misses.
Pat Neshek is a better comparison. Sorry for interrupting.
That's fine. Misses out the plate, 2-2. He just had that funky side. It's literally straight sidearm. There's no plane or no vertical plane there at all. Just flings it like straight off to the side and misses away here to lefty Kerr. Runs the count full, 3-2. That's the byproduct of kind of flinging that around sideways, is you're going to miss outside sometimes. But we've seen on the action on some of these pitches that he's had just really tailing away arm side, which is really effective. And swings and misses there, does Jimmy Kerr for strike 3. So Klug comes in and does his job to start things off with a strikeout of Kerr. And now the Wolverines back up to the top of the order with a K.O. Thomas, still desperately needing something to get started here. Trailing by 5 in the bottom of the 9th.
It's been tough here for the Wolverines in the late innings, not just this game, but over the weekend too. There's a trend they're going to have to reverse if they want to start winning games. Got to start scoring in the late innings.
First pitch, K.O. Thomas sees, just misses there for a ball, 1-0. Thomas on the day, 2 for 4. Started off hot with a double and a single in his first couple of at-bats. And the 5th and 6th, he struck out and popped out. The 1-0 pitch Thomas sees is a two-seamer, or at least two-seam action there. Is in there for a strike, 1-1. Thomas has had problems picking up the breaking ball specifically so far this season, but seeing a strict diet here of hard stuff as this one misses high and away, goes to 2-1. Haven't seen a good breaking ball out of Klug, but does have a lot of movement on a couple of his pitches. 2-1 pitch is line just foul on the right field line. So that'll bring the count to 2-2. Thomas's average actually up to 228 on the day with his 2 for 4 day. Slowly creeping back up there, trying to get back to levels we come to expect from the junior second baseman. The 2-2 pitch to him, misses high and in, almost takes him right on the chest. That'll go to 3-2.
Despite Kerr going down on strikes and Thomas in danger of doing so here with the 3-2 count, they've both made Klug work today.
3-2. Fouled off to the right side and out of play into the parking lot. We'll do it again here at 3-2. Not quite as rewarding making a pitcher work as it would be in the first game of, say, a 3-game series. So it's just a one-off appearance for Lawrence Tech here at Ray Fisher Stadium. Another foul ball, fouled back out of play behind the plate. And we're still at 3-2 on Thomas.
You're definitely right about that. They're not facing Lawrence Tech for a 3-game set. But still good to see the Wolverines taking their hacks, not going down without a fight in the 9th inning.
Another 3-2 pitch. Bounce towards short. Fielding is the shortstop. Robinetti fires to first and gets a K.O. Thomas by a step and a half. Nice play there. Able to recover from his earlier error was the shortstop, and now the Wolverines are down to their final out. They'll come in the form of Dominic Clementi, the designated hitter rather today. Also the Dominic hitter, it's him. He's 0 for 3 on the ball game today with a walk all the way back in the first, but has since grounded out twice and struck out back in the 7th most recently. First pitch he sees from Klug misses off the plate away for a ball, 1-0. Another matchup that theoretically favors the Wolverines here, the lefty Clementi facing the sidearm right-hander Klug. Didn't matter so much when Jimmy Kerr was up, but the 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike, 1-1.
Nice pitch there from Klug to fight back and even up the count at 1-1, and he's working pretty quickly today.
Comes set with the glove at his belt. The 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. It took a little bit off of that one, did Klug, and now he's 1 strike away from ending this one. The count's 1-2 on Clementi. Sophomore is ready. The 1-2 pitch from Klug. Hit high in the air towards the left side. Chasing after it is third short in that little Bermuda Triangle. A diving stab by Robinette all the way in shallow left field by the line. What a play to end it. And Lawrence Tech takes this one on that marvelous diving stab. Final score, Lawrence Tech Blue Demons 8, Michigan Wolverines 3 in what can only be described as a disappointing home opener for the Wolverines. The final line score, Lawrence Tech did have those 8 runs on just 7 hits. They only committed 1 error in the ballgame. Meanwhile, Michigan 3 runs on 8 hits, and those 4 errors turned out to be killer for the Wolverines. Winning pitcher of the day goes to Blunk, Matt Blunk. He was in the ballgame just prior to the Lawrence Tech Blue Demons scoring 6 in the 7th. It would be Troy Miller taking the loss in this one. Game time only 2 hours and 33 minutes. Relatively quick game here despite the lofty score in that big 7th inning. But Max, as you said, just a disappointing home opener for Michigan.
Yeah, really disappointing, and you're hoping that after that Lipscomb series they would be able to come back, rebound defensively at least. And the bats got going once again in the early going, but 4 errors again for the Wolverines. That's been the story of the season so far. K.O. Thomas having some trouble at short. In general, the Wolverines struggling behind their pitchers. It's hard to win games if you don't play fundamentally sound baseball, and that's going to be something to watch over the weekend and as we get later into the season.
It's something that Eric Bakich talked about before, just making mistakes that you shouldn't be making at this point in the season and this point in your baseball playing careers. The Wolverines just keep doing it. As the young team, it's kind of hard to keep that from spiraling out of control sometimes. And they weren't able to do it today. Once again, the final score, Lawrence Tech 8, Michigan 3. Michigan drops to 4-11 on the season. Meanwhile, Lawrence Tech elevates themselves up to 17-9. That will do it here for WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball today. We'll be back this weekend for the series against Bowling Green. Again, 4 o'clock Eastern start on Friday, 2 o'clock on Saturday, and 1 o'clock on Sunday. For Max Brill, I'm Austin Felko, and all of us here at WCBN Sports, we wish you a good night, and as always, a Go Blue.